start at 7 o'clock.
I like it.
This meeting is called to order in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act. Notice of this meeting was provided to the Home News Tribune, the Star Ledger, and the Highland Park Planet on January 8th, 2025, and was posted on Borough Hall website at www.hbborough.com and on the bulletin board of Borough Hall, 221 South Fifth Avenue in Highland Park, New Jersey, and has remained continuously posted as required by law. Fire exeter to my right and left of Council Chambers. Attorney, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Oh, yes, I do.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, I hear it.
Okay, cool. Roll call.
Mayor Foster,
Here.
Councilmember George, Councilmember Hale,
Here.
Councilmember Hirsch,
Here.
Council President Kim Cho Han,
Here.
Councilmember Pistonik,
Here.
Councilmember Vargas,
Here.
Borough Attorney Shaw,
Here.
Borough Administrator Rivera.
Here.
Okay. On discussion tonight, we have the League of New Jersey Municipality Resolution support publishing of legal notice on government website. And I just want to go into why this is here, why the Star Ledger, as of 3 weeks ago, is no more. They officially closed their door. The Bergen paper is closed. Matter of fact, there's an article in the Asbury Park Press today where they're going on strike against their union because of unfair practices, but there's no print paper anymore, anywhere in the state of New Jersey. So everybody went digital. Because we are all in the digital realm and we're still paying the paper fee to the newspaper company, which they're digital like us. The league has decided that this year that they're exploring, instead of the towns continue to pay, we're paying about average on the lowest, and the average is about $700 a month. So instead of paying that money out, we put our legal notices on our website and we can dedicate a page on the website for all legal notices. For example, as a business owner, I work with the city of Newark and I have business with them and Jersey City and what have you. And on their website, you can just go and pull everything that you want done. If you want to bid on an item, that you can go and just bid there. So everything is on, they have a portal that's just dedicated to notices. So everything is there. So say we have a contract coming up for road construction, you would go there and you'd find out you have whatever it is that we normally put in a newspaper, it's there. So I'm just bringing that example here. So we would save the money of advertising in the newspaper, which I just read, which is the Star Ledger and the Tribune.
The Home News, I think, is our primary.
And the Home News. So instead of doing that, we just post it up and we have a dedicated page so anyone can go there and find it. Because if you're going on the electronic for these items, you're going to the same place. You're going to go search for it anyway. So my proposal is that why wait until November or January of next year when the league finally make a decision? We'd be saving money, that monthly cost that we do now. We'd be saving that. So this is why this is here. Yes, Attorney?
And if I may, I also want to say just sometimes what ends up happening too is that, as the mayor has stated, many people who want to do business with the many municipalities are not able to because they can't find information. So there's been a very large amount of people that have been kept out of the business municipalities. And unless you're in an inner circle of where they get the information, there are some municipalities you still cannot even access their contracts. So I always say to people, more the merrier, and especially if you have even qualified contractors within the borough of Highland Park, wouldn't it be great to give them a chance to do business with their own borough? But thank you, Mayor. That's all I want to say.
Can I, I'm sorry.
Yes, sorry.
I just want to add, we currently do put the notices of bids. We don't put every legal notice on our website, but we do, just to be clear, that we do that now. So we'd be adding additional
Information.
notices, like when you have to notice for a bond ordinance or notice for other purposes. So I just wanted to let you know, it's not like we do none of it currently.
Yeah, Councilmember.
No, go ahead, Hirsch. I think
You
your
had
hand.
up.
Okay, I'll say, I think we should put it on the webpage. I think we should expand it on the webpage, and I think we should do newspapers as well. I think that there is value to supporting newspapers beyond the fact that it's just legal notices. I think there's value in us doing anything we can to make sure that some newspapers, electronic form or not, survive. And I think that's value to the public, and I think it's worth money spent. But I also think it's connecting to people who are not necessarily interested in the business of the day. They're interested in the announcement of the meetings. They're interested in something about what's coming up and things like that. And so I'm not sure I'm ready to sort of pull the plug on electronic newspapers yet. I think electronic newspapers are going to be that's where people, the small place that people have left to get news are the Star Ledger, the Home News Tribunes, electronic sources, the Record, all of those. We ought to be paying less because than print ads, but I don't know that we are. But I'm just not sure I'm ready to pull the plug on that, because I think newspapers are a public good. I think there's value in having newspapers and us contributing and saying that there is some press function that is important. So.
Councilmember Hirsch?
Yeah, I agree with Matt. I mean, I like the idea of having more flexibility, definitely. I think I expressed to Council President Kim Cho-han is that.
Well, that's why I was here.
Yeah, no, thank you. When the league hands down these, they sound really good, and there's always good in them. But I also get wary of kind of the continued disinvestment from media. So is this attached to a, I can't remember.
Yes.
This
It
is
will
a
be.
bill?
Yes, the bill is coming, so
Okay.
it's gonna be, I believe, because there are towns who are paying $56,000 a month. The larger towns who are getting like really clobbered. And in this economic climate where we have less to deal with, I think more towns are gonna go in favor of them posting it on their page rather, or do, the two thoughts that came up at the meeting was, one, we posted, actually three, we posted on our local page, the county takes out a page and it's posted and the county news, and then there's a state. So you have three opportunities. So you have your local township, your county, and the state. So it'd be advertised there, and it would be a cost savings to town who are paying a salary in some towns just to have this go out on a monthly basis, or paying more than a salary to have it go out on a monthly basis. They're paying many persons' salaries. One town was paying $34,000 a month, another was paying $56,000 a month. For those towns, yes, I would, if I was them, I'd be like clamoring to have this done. So the discussion will continue. This will go through to the Assembly and the companion bill through the Senate. So a decision will be made this year. So I guess what I'm hearing, no, it's only two persons that spoke. Others, Jason?
I have to agree with the maths on this one. And that was my initial thought when Stephanie first reached out about this was, I think it'd be beneficial to have it in more places rather than fewer, get as much notice in the word out as we possibly can. But also I was just thinking about how you just have heard over the past few decades that newsrooms are being slashed. I don't think that's a good thing for democracy. I think free press is vital to keeping this thing going. And I know it's not a lot of money, but I think it's money well spent. So I was going to encourage going in both, posting it on our website as well as continuing to publish it on the newspapers' websites.
So so say, for example, hypothetically speaking, should it pass the Assembly and the Senate, and it becomes state law, you would still want to have it posted? Because the state law is going to read that, say the county would take it would be posted on the county and on the state. So we would still go ahead and pay regular news. I'm just asking.
Well,
because this is the three-prong approach.
Would the county still do newspapers?
The county would have it on their website. They would a dedicated page on the county website.
I'm all for the county paying for newspapers.
They're not doing newspaper. The county will, the county is gonna save
website.
money and they're gonna have it on their website. The state will have it on their website. So there'll be no newspaper being done.
Right.
Everything is electronic. So just like how they're doing it electronically now, because there's no physical newspaper you hold in your hand, you still have to go to Home News Tribune, Star Ledger and look it
Right,
up. You're still going and look it up.
So in 1996, there were 57 reporters covering Trenton. Today, there's 7. The fact that there's that decimated number of people makes me want to make it as easy as possible for reporters to be able to find access to this. And I think that centralizing it in a news, or having it in a newspaper is one thing that could help. Just saying.
Anyone else?
Can you explain again, how much exactly would we be saving per year?
No, per month,
Per
it was
month?
around 700.
So we
That's
would
what
be
I told
saving
you.
$700 a month
Times 12.
times 12. And do we know how many people actually read the public notices in those papers, and then so we don't, there's no way for us to gauge whether this is actually even effective.
No, we don't have where we say Highland Park clicks,
Right,
X
yeah,
amount of clicks to
Right.
say, do analytics to say this is how many people are utilizing it. We don't.
right,
So that's the question.
right.
And don't quote me on this, but what they were saying is that the readership on the online paper is not up. It stays flat across the board. So there is no uptick on readership on the online portal. It's just not there.
Right, because I think people in general are looking for information. We used to receive information because we used to get the newspapers and everything. Now people are looking for specific information. So if they're looking for like, when are Highland Park meetings, they're going to be searching that, and it makes no difference if they're gonna find it on some newspaper online or on our own website. I mean, I'm in support of just keeping it on our website, because if we're gonna save money and if we have no way of gauging how people are accessing the public notices for Highland Park specifically, then we might as well just put that on the website.
I think that's a fair point, and I guess it's kind of an odd thing to say that in order to support, or sustaining the press, that we should pay for ads. I guess if the policy goal is to kind of help support the media so they continue to provide news coverage and do investigative journalism, keep an eye, contribute to the various checks and balances that sort of, I think, keep things in a good place. To just come out and have a policy that does that. But I think until we have that sort of solution to sort of like take that, then rather than just kind of be one of, potentially many towns that sort of just take that revenue source away, I'd be hesitant to do that until there's a replacement. I feel like there was something at the state level where they do provide some sort of financial support for journalism, but it's escaping me. I mean, I would just be hesitant to just take this away.
Mayor, if I may add to that, the bills that have been coming out, unfortunately, they have been trying to give municipalities more power over their budgets. Right, this is what has come about, and we're kind of, unfortunately, because newspapers are dying, they're trying to figure out other ways to get legal notices done, and that's why they're giving the power to the municipalities. So while I understand the sentiment and I appreciate it, I think what's happening is we're sort of at the fork of the road. And I think the bills that are coming out are supporting that, hey, municipalities and county and state, we're going to figure out a central location of this information is. And, we're going to completely eventually do away with even the requirement for even publishing in the newspapers. And I think that's where, I think that's where the direction's going.
Sure, no, I understand that. But my understanding is the law is permissive, or the bill is permissive. So, I think it would be up to us to kind of make that policy call if we think it's a worthwhile thing to continue doing. Which again, until I think there's an adequate replacement for that, I would prefer to keep it as is.
Well, what I'm hearing you saying is that you want to keep it as is until there's a state law.
No, I think my understanding is, well, as I take a look at the legislation, I haven't closely read that one, but my understanding is that'd be permissive, so we would continue to have the option to publish if we choose. I don't think they're limited.
Right, I don't think that the current bill that says you can't
No, but it's basically changing everybody to go into another alternative form of communication where the municipalities own it and they're not spending the money into the newspapers. And that's really what is going on. It's been a big change. It's been going on. It extended the bill for a little bit for people to figure out what to do, but it's going to be eventually. It's going to be just the municipalities giving information. That's going to be the end goal.
And what they were looking at the league conferences, the municipality posting, the county posting,
Yes.
and the state posting. So
Yeah.
those are the three options that's on the table.
Yeah.
You know, but it's, I would be quite comfortable to have us post, and if there's a county and there's a state posting, because we have to be financial stewards of the monies that we are held responsible for, and being responsible is to make sure that, you know, this $8,000 that it cost us a year just to publish, and because that it currently costs us now to publish, could be well used on some, maybe a rec program or something else, that we can put this $8,000 into creating more programming for our town and our people in our town. But I think that if what I'm hearing is that the majority of folks who are here tonight is saying that they're comfortable leaving as it is until the state make an official decision. And even if the state makes a decision, I'm hearing that you would still want to put it in on the Home News Tribune, Star Ledger, blah, blah, blah.
That's my position.
Okay.
So I don't, I'm
It's mine.
speaking for.
Yeah, I don't want to participate in withdrawing from newspapers.
And
But-
mine as well, until there's like some other kind of broader remedy or things seem to otherwise turn out, there's another source of revenue
For newspaper
for
people.
newspapers.
We're not.
I do-
So we're
we're not in
throwing
the
out
business of
taxpayers' money because we feel sorry for new people who print newspaper? That's what I'm hearing? In the very basic, because that's what I'm hearing basically.
There are other ways of supporting free press besides giving them our money from the
I mean,
budget.
no, not giving them taxpayers'
That's
Well,
money,
actually the only
taxpayers'
way.
money. Yeah,
taxpayers' money.
It's the only way.
it doesn't have to be through public notices. I mean, I think that we really have to think about what we're doing in Highland Park, and if we can allocate that money towards something else that will benefit the larger
The greater good
community,
of the
then maybe that's
community.
what we should consider.
I mean, I would say that $8,000 is an investment. in the community. Look, newspapers.
It's not an
you know,
investment if nobody's
Our
reading the public
society,
notices
our
online.
society without newspapers has taken a serious hit. And I think we see it locally every day. You know, I'm looking at the state laws or the proposed bills regarding legal notices. This one's not up yet. I mean, I would be interested to see, you know, how, I mean, Steve Sweeney tried to do it, didn't, no, yeah. Yeah, I would be interested to see kind of how a bill, you know.
Well, they're
Such
working,
a-
they're working through the mechanisms of it, so we don't supersede state law, so when the state law comes out, then we would have to fall in line. Anything else on this? All righty, so we're just gonna table it until, wait for the state to make a decision. That's what we're saying?
So just a point of clarification, at a work session, are we supposed to make decisions?
No, I'm
Because-
just asking,
No, she just
I'm
wants to
asking for,
know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm comfortable waiting, so that's.
that's all I was
again,
asking.
Yeah.
It sounds like there's gonna be a bill forthcoming, considering that they're reaching out to municipalities. Yeah, and we can express our concerns to the sponsors, maybe.
Or support.
Well, yeah. In order to get there.
All righty, okay, so it's tabled until the bill comes out. All righty, now we're gonna move into our 2025 goals and priorities. And I know you all can't wait to have this happen. Stephanie's gonna be chairing this session tonight, and I know she has sets of notes and stuff that she want to go through. I had put some of my ideas and what I would like to see together as well. And as we go about sharing and putting our ideas, and we have two scribes that's going to be taking notes for us. We also have a sheet that we can go up and add to and everything else like that. But basically, we are looking at what it is that we want to accomplish in the next 9 months, because March is already here. So we're looking
But
at,
if you accomplish those, you could check them off.
and if you accomplish those ideas or proposal in the next 9 months,
I got you.
you just check it off your bucket list. For example, I think a good example is that we've been looking at rules of order. And we started looking at that. That would be something that's in Stephanie's bucket as our council president.
One school.
And so our council president is looking at that. Say you look at it another time, you say, okay, you know what, this is what we want to do. When it's adopted, and that's a check off. That would be in her bucket. So it could be very short-term things. It could be things that would be accomplished in the next 3 months, the next 6 months, or the end of the year, or it could be the next 18 months or more, because some goals obviously are going to take longer. I'll share with you one that I had when I was in charge of public safety. We had, we wanted us to do like a forensic audit of our police department. And what that auditing was is, you know, when Princeton did the study and I went and I got a copy of it. When we look at saying, always look top down, but this study was bottom up. So when we could say we had conversations with everybody to see what needs to be changed. It took Princeton 10 years to get their audit completed of their staffing and their equipment and everything. It took them 10 years. But when I was there, we started with the him, her, or the pronouns, and we started looking at that. And that was one fix. Then we went in and revised the outdated language. So that was a part of it that we started to look at, just fixing the language and getting it up to date. And then the next thing was like, how do they acquire equipment, or how do you do the next bunch of staff, and how does new officers come on? What kind of training was being provided? I don't know where it is right now, but that was a part of that was going to be a long-term thing, because we all know we had issues at various points in our PD. And one of the ways to identify those issues was to not go top down, but bottom up and try to identify where those issues are. And that was what I was working on then. So that's why that's a 10-year thing. But each year there was something that I could check off the box. So some of you may have things that are, say, instantaneous within this year. Some of you may have 2 or 3 years or even longer. So for example, you're on the planning board and your vision of the town is to redo X, Y, and Z. The planning board, it takes about, say, good 20, 25 years to get everything done that you would have on the bucket list if you're on the planning board. So those are the kind of areas that we need to think what we can do now, because we have this big pie. How do we do pieces of it now and long-term? So we will have a checkoff list when you get to certain areas that you can check off. For example, on mine here, mine was for South Third. So I was putting ideas like, what can we do for South Third? And we know that the RFQ went out for South Third and, you know, stuff like that. So we can say, okay, the first quarter we did X, the second quarter we did Y, the fourth quarter we did this. And so we can check. Oh, yeah, we can check all the different things. Like I had on here, that's coming later.
Right.
Don't be distracted.
Oh, yeah, that's at the end. This is your
that's it.
fortune,
Yes.
fortune cookies.
And so if you look at the road diet is taking forever, but there are pieces of the road diet that's being done. So that's something like that is going to be a long-term, short-term plan, because the state told us, the DOT told us that Upper Raritan would not be done until 2028. That's a long-term plan, but there are pieces of it that will be done this summer. And there are pieces of it that was done last year. So those are the areas that we're going to look at as we look at our bucket and look at our reorg sheet and say, okay, this falls in my bucket, but it also falls into Councilmember Hill's bucket. And how do we do economic development with public safety, with DPW for sewer system, and how does that all come together? Any questions? And Madam President, it's all yours.
Okay, thank you, everyone. This is my first one, so be easy. Hey, Kitty, and Adele voice. Did you guys see the email, right, that I had sent around with the chart or something, you guys?
I just want to remind everybody, please speak up a little bit, just because
Oh,
we're
okay.
relying on that mic. So I understand
Yeah.
you're being casual, but I was thinking that when
This
Sabina-
one, the gray
when
one.
Sabina was speaking, we do have some folks at home. so just
Okay,
make sure
okay,
it's
okay.
all-
Can I also just, where's the camera coming from? Because if you're gonna be sharing, you should be in a place where people can see you.
That's not a bad idea.
I mean,
it's up to
like-
you.
Oh, wait, do you want to say that?
You wanna sit here and you and I can.
You want to sit here?
I mean, I want you to be, like, you're gonna be sharing it, so I want people to see you right now.
Yeah, that's
Like,
true.
like,
The camera's over there.
Where are you? You're right here.
I think it's.
I think,
this.
I think you should.
No, you're right here.
Your
When we
back
see
is
you
to
on
the
TV.
camera.
Yeah, my back is.
Yeah, so you need to come here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we get those charts?
I guess that wasn't clear. I thought people were supposed to fill those out before they got here.
I thought that's what you
Yeah.
said, that they were
None,
supposed to fill them out.
nothing we got back.
But they were supposed to fill them out.
That's so, I'm happy to try to go print them out, but if they're not, like, we can
Well,
just-
don't
I
we
think-
have notebooks?
I mean,
People
I
can
know
just write
You
their.
printed your list and I printed up a list of stuff. And
So
you-
people
Yeah, but I
can,
want
people
the
can.
job, well, ours.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Did anyone bring it? No?
I did not bring it. I
So
printed
why
out
don't
a
we
list.
just use these notepads and people can take notes and then turn them in and then they'll be written up.
Okay. Well, it had dates and everything, and we're using the reorg chart.
You got a notepad?
I got.
I just chart for nothing. That's
No, it's not. Go ahead.
I left this stuff.
There's a box right here, Jason.
Thank you. Because you might.
So first, let me just go over the. Okay, so kind of like the outline for tonight for the goal setting session. You know, we kind of work together to identify a set of goals or priorities for 2025. And then we're gonna include some mid-year targets. As I have put on the chart, you know, the one section that was until June 1st, and then you have another that will end December 31st, 2025. And kind of like what I had said in the meeting, the goal is because, hey, maybe somebody else may have redevelopment or health and human services next year. And we're gonna do these goals and priority sessions again next year. So maybe you may have some different goals. Or so that's for your portfolio. And then we're gonna focus on what we want to achieve this year rather than how we're going to do it. So for larger goals, you identify kind of like a sub goal that is achievable. So whatever you wanna do was it splash park, you'll identify maybe an area, maybe for your goal for the end of the year, and maybe I want some plans. I want some plans in hand, or you know, something. And you organize your goals and priorities by your council committee area. So my finance, everyone, we all know our committee areas. And then we look for, like the mayor said, look for goals and priorities that's cross-cutting, and that, you know, we will work together and as you dovetail into other in other areas. So then, and then that last chart that I had put on my sheet that had said identify revenue potentials and area opportunities with each council committee. So I actually added this in here this year. As chair of finance, we know, you know, you don't know what's really happening on the federal level, which trickles down to the state level being very tight and so forth and so on. So I really think when we're doing kind of like the goals and priorities as well, that we can at least come up with one revenue opportunity. And it doesn't have to be actual like revenue. It can be review your fees of, your fee schedule. It could just be review that. It can be not actual revenue, but maybe, you cut something somewhere in an area. And then review the meeting process, next steps. And then we're all gonna have an opportunity to put forward goals and priorities related to your committee again. And then the mayor has administration and she put some as well, and then encourage listening and reassure the group that they will have the opportunity for feedback and comments. And then Terry and the clerk will take notes. Then the admin, which is council president, the mayor, and the business administrator, committee will draft the goals and priorities and document it and circulate it. So similar, whatever we put on the flip chart tonight. So does anyone want to share first?
Maybe we should go in accordance to our church.
Well, you're first then.
Let's see.
If that's the way. Let's see. Well, I was gonna pick on Hell because he sent a long thing. I was like, typical. Professor Hell.
Hell, that's a lot.
Ready, but I was like, but yeah, so Mayor.
No, you can go ahead, because I don't want to mess up your system.
Can I
Okay,
ask a quick question? Do you want me to try to do flip chart notes, take handwritten notes, like what's?
Flip chart would be
flip
great.
chart? Okay, so I'm gonna do my best to I'm gonna do shorthand, but I'm gonna try to capture.
You want me to write? You, if you have to take notes?
Well, I'll take notes up there.
Okay,
We
okay.
have the recording, so
Okay.
it's not gonna be all lost against. So I'm gonna start with economic development.
Mhm.
Okay. So, I started a lot with what you did, right? And so the track C redevelopment in Third Street. My number one goal is to support Mayor Foster's goals and objectives,
Yeah.
right?
I think,
You're here.
oh yeah, we were
She
here.
wrote this.
We're done, yeah.
Wait, I think you put objections.
I did.
Yeah,
That was my number two.
I support her objectives, but I will fix that.
I
So,
fixed it
but
for you.
in-
I fixed it
In
for you.
addition to
That
that,
was my number
in,
two.
in addition to that, I came up with a bunch of things that I thought economic development could do and or put down. So identify and hire the Third Street consultant firm. In conjunction with Terry, and the Third Street Stakeholder Committee,
It's
develop.
Third Avenue, I have to tell you.
Babs.
You said it 3 times, I just had to
Third,
say it.
Third
Yeah,
Avenue,
yeah.
Third Avenue Stakeholder Committee. So we formed a stakeholder committee for Third Avenue, and we'd like to sit down and develop an action plan for them. I'd like to hold all the required stakeholder, planning board, zoning board, and council public hearings that we need to make Third Street happen. Third Avenue, sorry.
Boulevard.
That street over there.
Boulevard.
The plaza.
I thought it'd be interesting to use Placer AI, which is this tech that we have, to see how, when the development starts, when things happen, what does that happen to traffic?
So, hold on, so we don't know which ones is for 6 months and we don't know which one is
So
for the.
all of
That's
these
gonna
are-
come later.
No, all of these,
We're gonna do-
I think.
well, all the ones I'm reading right now, I want to be done by June 30th, and then the second set would be done by 31st. I broke it down into by 30th and the 31st.
Okay,
So these are.
Yeah,
by-
yeah,
I'm
So
gonna
that's
take
what I'm
shorthand, 'cause I
saying,
know you
yeah.
wrote it all
I
up.
wrote it all
So
up.
I'm not gonna go crazy, but.
I recall seeing it.
Okay.
So would be the final goal by June 30th is we have plans.
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah.
pretty much.
Terry's
All
like,
the things
hold
we
on.
need to do.
We got plans.
Okay.
We got stuff.
So he's gonna be checking off a bucket in 6 months, by June 30th.
Right. Okay. So other things related to Track C and Third Avenue are trying to develop some materials highlighting the various tools that we have for HB businesses. So we ought to be able to explain to them what Placer AI is, what Beyond Main is, what EDA grants are. So we ought to be able to
So informational sessions?
So not as like actual materials. Like I think we have a bunch of different things that we're giving to that we can give to businesses. And as we're recruiting new businesses to go into the new developments, and as we're recruiting businesses everywhere, I think some materials that would say, here's this, and here's this, we ought to create.
Oh, so you want a packet to give out?
I want 3 pages. I don't want to.
Oh, well, what?
I want something
That's
that
right. No.
a really business, someone who's starting a business who has a million things to do can read in 30
Okay,
seconds.
okay.
And
He
then
wants an elevator speech.
So this is for existing, but also potential.
new business,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Right?
Like you're thinking like a punch list, like I'm moving to town, this is what I need to do to open my business, this, and this, and that's.
Well, so that's coming later.
Okay.
This is what I'm thinking about now is
Well,
just.
you just
I'll
let,
shut up.
everybody just shut up and
Okay.
let him speak,
Okay.
and then we'll
So
get to that later.
What I was thinking is this would be about the things that we have. These are the things that we already have that are available to Highland Park businesses, and we ought to be able to push it to businesses and push it to people saying, if you come to Highland Park, you get this in addition to being in Highland Park, right? And then also in terms of South Third, as necessary or as needed, I'm happy to do more walking tours. People seem to like those walking tours.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I'm happy.
And that costs us nothing.
That costs us. That's free. Yeah. Well, you have to put armor on. No, I'm just kidding. So then by December 31st, some other goals for the Track C in South Third. Make sure that Main Street is identified event planning and farmers markets during construction periods. So what are their, I mean, that's going to have to be fluid because we don't know exactly when those things are going to come, but I'd like to make sure that Main Street knows what they're doing if South Third is in some stage, or if the Track C is building. I'd like to have them, what are you going to do, right? And work with them. And then the other thing that wanted to do by the end of the year was direct outreach to local businesses. Just walking down the street, knocking on the door and saying, you know that there's these developments coming, you know that there is this, or you don't know, or there's a whole bunch of things coming right next door. So we should tell them face-to-face and outreach face-to-face. So direct outreach to local businesses about redevelopment, particularly about South Third and about Track C. So, and then, you know, I fleshed out a couple other things that are sort of, I think we can do some of them by June 30th, but we could continue to December 30th as well. So, yeah. So I don't know, that's Track C. For Upper Raritan was another one of the mayor's priorities. My #1 goal is to support Mayor Foster's goals.
Here you go. I love it.
Good at that, right? That's #1.
Mhm.
And I spelled it right this time, so that's a good thing. You know, this is again, as Upper Raritan happens, we have to develop the list of local residents around the potential projects. That's an easy sort of pull because we're going to have to reach out to them as there's an Upper Raritan development. We have to have neighborhood public meetings. So I thought by June 30th, we would be able to identify the local stakeholders, which we are, you know, the local residents. And then by December 30th to have the various required meetings for planning, zoning, and public hearings about some Upper Raritan development, but at least have the ones with the folks in the neighborhood.
That assumes we have projects coming. forward.
Assumes we have, if we have projects, if we don't have a project, we don't have a meeting. Doesn't make any sense. Okay, and then, so that was Upper Raritan, and then on Woodbridge Ave for the NPP. So we just turned in our to the county, our 4th year plans and budget. They haven't technically said yes to it yet, but they will. And so we just have to get that approval. That's one of the goals. I think that we should be working with the stakeholder committee and communications team specifically on MPP materials about things for residents, because one of the things in the MPP plan for this year is that we're moving to porch grants. So people can get grants to make, if they're in the district, they can get porch grants to fix up their porch. So we need to do some sort of outreach to residents about that. We've done a lot of outreach to businesses, but because the grant also allows us to do it for residents, we got to do that as well. One of the things that was in the mayor's goals was to do a branding concepts and to come up with a branding plan for MPP. I think just organizing that with stakeholder committees, professionals and consultants about what do we brand Woodbridge Avenue? What are the different ways that we could go about branding Woodbridge Avenue? Next is continue the business facade grant program, expand the MPP district stakeholder committee membership is another goal. We have a really, really good group of folks, but I think we could add a couple people to that. Before June 30th, we have to start planning the 2025 Woodbridge Avenue Car Show. I want a car show this year.
Yes.
Yeah.
You said it, it's here.
I would love to make sure that we purchase the best snowflakes in the history of snowflakes.
Yes.
That's another sort of big goal. We'd love to have the
We're
fantastic.
about to be at the State House again, clapping and standing up all too
Yes,
long.
exactly. Just like we have to do outreach to businesses on Woodbridge Avenue about both Beyond Main and Placer AI. We have to make sure that they know and how to engage with that. Like to do direct outreach, just like the direct outreach I wanted to do with Main Street, to do that up at MPP. There's a fair much of what we've done on MPP, or what we want to do on MPP, we're sort of waiting for county road improvements. We're waiting for the county to figure out how that's going to play itself out. So we have to monitor that. I think that we have the ability to do some additional either repainting of existing street corner art or finding new street corner art within the MPP district. That's part of our budget. And I know Rituj is working on this already, but using again Placer AI to look at traffic and monitoring on Woodbridge Avenue. And then a lot of the way that I foresaw that is that up through June 30th, we plan these things, and then after June 30th, we implement these things. So the goal is that up through June 30th, we figure out how to do it, and then after June 30th, we actually make it happen. So I'm not going to go through all of those. Mollymock Groff was another place. We talked about a long-term capital and non-capital strategic plan. One of the things about Mollymock, we have some money from MPP, but we don't have enough to rebuild everything. We don't have enough. So we have to figure out how to either find that money, or we have to prioritize about what is the steps that we're going to do with Mollymock Groff. We know it needs to be fixed. One of the things that the stakeholder committee has really talked a lot about is sort of cameras in the park. So that's a discussion to have. I don't know that it's an action item, but it's to figure out how that might work. Because having cameras might make it a little bit safer, but again, a discussion item, not an action item. And so again, thinking about up through June 30th to sort of develop this strategic plan for Mollymock Groff, and then as appropriate afterwards into December 30th to start implementing. What can we implement? What do we have the money to do? Where do we need to find the additional money? So, so that would be in the second half. Can I keep going?
No, I was for the park, remember the CDBG, but let him finish.
I could talk.
Let
about
yeah, let him finish, yeah.
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 You scribe roll.
Okay. So next up is shared services, and the bottom line in shared services. I think that there might be some possibilities of shared services around economic and business development. I just don't know what they are. So what we need to do is research that to see if there are. Has anybody ever done shared services for a SID, or anybody done shared services for economic development? And I don't know the answer to that. So I would like to research that and figure it out.
quick answer
Good
to
question.
shared services on redevelopment that has been done.
Okay.
There's been 2 municipalities that we've done one for. As far as the SID, that gets complicated because it has to do with taxes that
Yep.
go back to that. So,
I-
but absolutely. we can do
so
research on that.
I literally think it's worth exploring. It has to be explored because I don't know anything about it. So that would be that. So before June 30th to do that exploring, and then after June 30th to come to the council with some proposals to say, here's some ideas that might work, and let's sort of flesh those out and see, which of the proposals has, the most interest among council, and it seems possible. And if there's nothing that's possible, there's nothing that's possible. But the goal would be to sort of come up with an idea or two to float out about shared services around economic development. Okay, so the things that are not that I went next is Main Street Highland Park. So one of the goals is to work with Main Street Highland Park to identify and recruit additional board members. They need some additional board members, and so it's got to identify and recruit them to get them on the board. So Stephanie came up with a really fun idea about the sale of the month, where we pick different places in Highland Park, and this sale is because this is Councilman Hirsch's favorite thing at this store, and so you get a 4% discount or something like that. So it's pizza, something like
Always
that.
pizza.
Okay. Right? Again, one of the things I really want to work on in economic development is sort of direct business engagement. So direct engagement with Highland Park businesses, meaning not by electronics, but by showing up at their door and saying hello. So I'd like to develop with Ratuja a plan of how we're going to get what time we have, what time constraints we have, how do we go and knock on a bunch of different businesses, continue supporting ongoing events that Main Street does. Again, identifying space and infrastructure needs for the transition of the farmers market to South Third. Again, identifying programming and structure needs for Main Street at South Third and the potential Track C community space. So those are another things that we have to work on. Just so everybody knows, Main Street is well represented on our stakeholder committee for South Third. So we fully expect that we'll be able to do that. One of the things that we talked about at Main Street and talked about in another place is sort of is develop a mock business creation process. So let's say that somebody wants to create a business in Highland Park. What do they need? How do they do that? And where's the steps? And so that would be something that would be.
I can't resist but telling you Ratuja's already got a draft.
Well, why do you think I put it on my goals?
Cause he wanted to check someone.
I know she's already working on it, so I got a head start, right?
And I couldn't resist
That's,
saying that.
she has, and so I think that would be a wonderful thing.
So we have 7 items so far, or that's
Some
just
of these,
that?
I have ideas of how we might regroup some of these to make.
But that would be at the end.
These are-
That would
but
be
no,
at the end.
after,
Yeah.
but not
During
not
the-
here. I think
Yeah,
a
at
lot
the
of
end,
them
when we go
overlap.
look at everything
So-
together collectively.
Yeah.
I think- But these are all things.
Okay. Track day was another thing. Obviously, the planning board is looking at the redevelopment study. We'll react to that as that happens. After that happens, there's the negotiation process. So we have to continue to monitor that as it goes along. Before June 30th, 2025, I hope Uber Eats is up on Woodbridge Avenue. That would
It's
be-
up, it's up. They have cars in there now. I drove past it this evening.
He
There was,
wants to scratch it off, Mayor.
I would.
yeah, I'm just saying that you can scratch it off tonight.
So he's completely moved?
I don't know that he's completely
He
moved.
dropped in on me and he basically said,
Yeah,
this
I
week
was
is
there.
move week.
Okay, great.
Because I saw
Whether
the
or not
stuff
it's
there
gonna be
I was
tonight.
there, I
Swept.
saw it.
Yeah, there's a sign up in the old spot that says
Yes.
we've moved.
We've-
Yes.
Yes.
Right, and
yes,
there's a
I've
sign
seen
up at the
that.
new one, future home of, right? But until I see
Well, this is
Mr.
move week, so they're not
This is
working,
exciting.
they're just.
What I'm
moving.
hoping is that when I see Mr. Ubri in the front window, that we'll know that he's moved. So that would be nice to make sure that.
Okay, bucket soon to be checked off. He's gonna have a big old check off bucket.
I want to get stuff done. you know?
Well, anything that happened
Okay.
January 1st.
Again, at the end of the year is all development stuff. Then we have the Cleveland Avenue redevelopment. There's a lot of work to do with staff to complete work on a redevelopment concepts for Cleveland Avenue, which is, up by there. We have tons of stuff to do, so that's on the to-do list. And then sort of I put in its own separate thing, sort of how to start a business in Highland Park. I think that would be a nice thing to be able to give people to say, here's how you start a business in Highland. That's it. That's what I got.
All righty.
So the shared service one is your income,
Go what?
that's your income, right? That's your income
Or
tab?
savings, Stephanie's challenge to everybody was
Oh,
a revenue or a.
yes,
savings.
shared services is my income thing. Yes.
Okay. I had another one in
So
mind,
I'm
but I'm
gonna
not
put
even
dollar-
gonna give it to
I'm gonna
you.
put dollar
But it would have
signs.
been very easy. No, it was your fees,
My
in your
what?
area, in code
Code
to review.
Code enforcement.
Just
code
review,
enforcement
yeah.
fees. All right, I think that's an interesting one, in light of the how to start a business. Like, so I think that could be part of how to start a business, but I think it's a good idea to review some of those. But also,
Or to look and see if we're under.
Mhm.
yeah, or to see if we can.
Oh.
move
Mhm.
over, right? Okay. That's a good idea. So, I got this, so you got this. so-
You want to go next?
Oh, no, I think
Oh,
you
no.
have feedback.
Feedback, yeah. I
Do I
just
need to
wanted
flip
to-
back?
We did say
No,
that.
no, no,
We
not
did
flip
say
back, feedback,
Uh,
which was just to say that I fully support your goals and objectives of supporting the mayor's goals and objectives. I think it all sounds really great, and I think especially, I just wanted to highlight, I think that Track C and the Third Avenue Plaza should be our top priorities. I think those are things that can happen in the not too distant future. And again, she's just really prioritized because I think that can really provide some concrete deliverables to just really provide a shot in the arm to the community.
Yep.
I think it's going to bring such vitality to the downtown, provide much needed housing, including affordable housing, and boost our local businesses. So, I mean, so it's outside of my bucket, but I just want to, second everything that you're saying and just make a pitch to that.
Push
That
that.
should push those items.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
and how many you have?
I have
10?
It's not a competition, right?
There's 10, but.
Because I
Who's
don't
gonna
have
win?
it.
I have more.
I'm not gonna overwork my.
We're done.
A number that were business support, that could, maybe those could go.
It goes
together.
dovetail into
yeah,
other
yeah,
areas
yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
There's a lot, it makes sense, because we
Mhm.
have
Yeah.
different areas, Woodbridge versus the rest of town.
Right.
You have Woodbridge, you have downtown, you have Upper Raritan, you have a lot.
Norman, I think Norman.
What?
Did you have a question?
I don't have a question as much as I have an idea that kind of for this particular bucket. I know that you mentioned regarding the idea of having like a special discount named after like a council person or something like that. And I was just wondering, because I had actually written this down on my list, the possibility of having like a farmer's market day discount, if we can approach businesses that are in that area, perhaps to get a discount on Friday specifically, because I know while the farmer's market is great, I know everybody kind of gravitates towards the market and uses those food trucks. And we have so many restaurants on Raritan Avenue that are kind of like, oh, what about us? So I'm just wondering if we could float the idea of having a specific, of going to the businesses and proposing if they would give a discount specifically on Friday, like a market day discount, just to attract some consumers their way as well.
Can I take it one step back? Because I think it's a really important idea that we try and engage bricks and mortar businesses more with farmers market, right?
Right.
Because that separation between the farmers market and so like, for example, one of the things that this Placer AI, one of the things we're working on is what happens to other businesses during farmers market? Do they get more or do they get less? Right? And so we'll have the actual data that will help us
Okay.
make that determination. Like, and there may be a business that just, booms on farmers market day, and maybe there's not. Maybe we'll have an idea. But I think the idea of integrating them, the only reason I'm a little reluctant is I don't want to go to a bricks and mortar business and say, the food trucks are here, but we want you to give a discount, or
Right.
something like that. But I absolutely 100% agree that some sort of way of trying to integrate those two is a really, and highlight the bricks and mortar businesses on Farmers Market Day. I think it's really, really
And just
important.
to kind of make Friday a
Yeah.
downtown day,
Friday's
like
a
everybody's
downtown
coming
day.
up from Farmers Market and to
Yeah.
patronize the businesses and just incentivize a
Great.
special day.
Agreed.
So,
I couldn't
So-
agree with you more, sorry, Norma, that,
Yeah.
the food trucks are okay, but the people who are paying into the bid and who are putting out constantly, that we need to find a way to incentivize those people. For example, we might say the barbershops in town, you get a 10% off or a 5% off barbershop, and they go out and do some flyers, or the nail shops or whatever, wherever people shop, you could incentivize to get more people going into the downtown business. But as Councilmember Hale said, like say AI is going to be informing us, but there could be other incentives that we incentivize to, not just on Farmers Market Day. Yes, we want to get all these people coming in, but maybe if they have a coupon that they can buy, they can come back another time and utilize
Right,
those, that
right.
kind of thing.
Or related to that, so that maybe it's not so much of a competition between the two. We do something special like on a separate day. I think kind of like you were almost getting at. So we could have like downtown Sundays where maybe we have some kind of programming in that plaza that'll be up and running soon, and then maybe have a discount there. So hopefully we get a big draw and people coming in Sundays. That's the day to come to Highland Park, hang out, get a bite to eat, get a bubble tea.
Yeah, because
Have a
I'm
nice
really
time.
concerned
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
we have people who are paying into a bid
Right.
in the special improvement districts, and we want to make sure that those brick and mortar business are getting the biggest bang for their buck.
100%.
Right.
Councilman Hirsch.
On the,
Councilman Hirsch.
no, thank you.
No,
No,
I
I'm
think he,
telling you.
no, he
Oh,
have a
no, I
comment or
question. Oh,
feedback.
yeah, no.
So real quick for the economic development team, whatever additional ideas you guys have, give it to him and maybe he wants to add it to his goals or so later or so. 'Cause I
I'll try to get, believe it or not, this will make sense to me.
Okay, okay.
And I have the.
We already
report.
did.
If I have
Norma
it
did,
on-
I did.
Yeah, but
Three
those
of us
were
did.
all economic development. wasn't
No.
Yeah.
Support the car show 1,000%,
Yes,
all
yes.
cars, any cars, vintage, electric, whatever. It's awesome. Yeah, it's super cool. Wait, I had one.
He,
No, go
Councilman,
finish.
Councilman Hirsch has. the
I
floor.
raised my
He has
hand.
been recognized.
Excuse me, I raised my hand.
This is really, I'm with Jason. It's all really exciting. One thing that, is it worth ever having, like a quarterly downtown, bid property owners convening or twice a year? I feel that a lot of the property, we're always faced with like these like at-large property owners, who don't operate. I mean, it's not much operate. Maybe, and this may be happening, so I'm sorry, but maybe there's like a regular convening of property, just so they know what's going on, and we can recommend, hey, why don't you paint your building, or why don't you do these facade improvements? There's incentives out there.
I don't want to step on Main Street's toes, but I'd certainly like to have a conversation with Main Street about how to effectuate that, because I think there's a lot of, I think having something with the people paying the SID is a really, really good idea. I mean, maybe I'm just brainstorming, right? And all that, but maybe there's a way of not having it as a meeting, but having it as a tequila contest, or something that would draw
Yeah.
people in, like a
Oh,
dinner,
yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
have it some
Like a restaurant week.
like
that
a
we do
restaurant,
in
yeah,
Madison.
something along those lines. That it would be not just that you get that, not, we're just asking you to come to a meeting. We recognize, and maybe we can afford to throw some food and stuff like that, like,
Give out awards for best sidewalk.
I just wanted to add, I think it's a really interesting thought, because I do feel badly, the one time a year they hear from us, it's like, and here's your bid tax. And we hear some things we did, but, we always try to, but, so having, and we're kind of taking that approach with the businesses
Yeah.
too, so it's a
Right.
good,
It's a
con-
really good-
like,
yeah,
we don't want to, only time is like, we need you to fix your sidewalk or whatever, we want to be adding value
Right.
and helping them.
And I think that fits in overall with one of the fundamental goals is a lot more face-to-face touches with people that are in the bid and the people who are in the businesses, right? So that it's that we're out on the street, knocking on the door, saying hello and having those conversations and relationships so that when we do send a bill or when we do ask for the, or something like that, it's not just asking a stranger. So I think that's a nice mix.
I did get it.
I just had one other thing. I had something to say about that. Just with the, with the food trucks, that's an interesting, I don't really have a whole lot to add there, but it is interesting because I know that there are, some of the vendors or even some of the farmers market who have really developed a client base here, are looking for brick and mortar and often can't find anything. So maybe there is a way to kind of, maybe we can retain some of these, businesses, and help encourage them to say, well, why don't you plant your flag here in Highland Park? We'll know
Yeah,
you.
that's happened a couple times with
Yeah.
food trucks, is that they have explored some. We haven't been successful yet, but I know of at least 2 instances of a food truck who was exploring trying to do bricks and mortar in Highland Park. And they just, for whatever reason, couldn't make it work, but
Yeah.
always work.
And I like the food truck. I do not know. I agree there's a fairness issue, someone's paying into the bid, and that's a thing. But they also get the full-time benefit of Highland Park too. But I think the kind of gig economy when it comes to the food trucks is an important thing for us to consider. I wouldn't know what the approach is, but the grease trucks existed in New Brunswick for 1,000 years, and they had their own self-sustaining, economy there. And then I think the city helped facilitate them when they needed to, be elsewhere. So, that was it. That was cool.
Mayor, you have been recognized.
You're waiting.
Speaking of,
She has 3 minutes.
yeah, I'll make it quick. Mine is 3 minutes. Okay, passport program. We had a program called the Passport Program many years ago, and it was to say it's Restaurant Week. And you would have a passport to go into each restaurant. You get a sampling and you buy stuff for $10 and you get your passport stamp. You go to the next place, and there'll be a grand prize at the end. I think that would be one way to encourage people to have a program that they're going into these restaurants, they're getting these stamps and it's a passport, look like a passport, and they're sampling all these food, and it's a way to generate revenue for the business. That's one. The other one is the car show. Last year when we worked on the car show, I spoke with Mayor Bush at length in Metuchen, and they do the car show. If we're looking at this to generate income or to have more money spent in Highland Park, it's not. It's just a night out for people to show their cars. Just want to put that out there because it does not generate he said not even a pack of gum it generates. Nobody spend because they come, they have their setup, they bring their food, and that's all they do. So it's just a nice thing. So that's that. You have 3 minutes. Upper Raritan, you said that Upper Raritan, I think you can go and do the rollout because we're going to be doing the striping this year. So that's a conversation to say, leave some flyers with the people in the area and just let them know that coming soon, blah, 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 this is going to happen. So you have an opportunity to inform people.
I'm
I'm done.
Before there's, you still have a minute and a half.
This one was rushing me.
I forgot. I remember.
Actually,
I think you have to let her get her points out and then address them one by one. No, I'm just kidding.
So the idea of letting the residents of Upper Raritan know what's coming in terms of the road stuff as a way prior to letting them know what's coming in street development stuff is a good idea.
And the
But yeah,
snowflakes, I found the guy at the league for the snowflakes.
okay, all right.
Have his
We will
number, I'll
add
give it
them
to
to
you.
our list as we
As
deal
as
with
the
this on
list
our-
continues to grow.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Councilwoman.
Councilman Hirsch,
No,
have
I
one more
for-
thing and then we're gonna move.
I
to the
forgot what I
next.
was gonna say. No, the reason why I was talking about the property kind of convening party
I yield my time.
is because even through DPW, we run into this as you know, it's like some buildings are not retrofitted to have modern, entry and access points for trash and everything like that. So to hear those concerns, I think, because we never get it from the property owners, we hear it from the retailers, we
Right.
hear it from the tenants.
Okay.
So that's enough that we have to do too, is kind of
Okay.
trash. Anyway, I'm sorry.
No, that's good.
I meant to tie it into.
Next. Next person.
Would you like to go next, Councilman? Hurst?
Sure,
We're
sure.
doing Public Works.
All right.
Public Works. Okay, so you have two income things. I'm just keeping notes, so.
Okay,
At 12:31, if you're.
all right.
So Perez, you may not be thrilled with my revenue raisers here, but we will think this through more.
Okay.
So for public works and public utilities, there's a couple of things that are in the works and some things that we would like to start. This has been ongoing for a few years, but obviously we have our River Trail exploration committee. Currently, I think the survey work is complete, or the initial phase of the survey work with the River Trail is complete through our consultant. And the next step is to have the committee, I guess, mobilized. Terry, I think this is a fair timeline.
I mean, we definitely gonna have to figure out this year what our next move is. This is such a big project. We're gonna have to break it down.
But this is important, this is a long-term,
What is important? We didn't hear.
The River Trail, I'm sorry, the connector
Oh.
trail between, I'm sorry, so for those at home, this is we received funding for feasibility study and survey work on a connector trail from Donaldson to Johnson Parks. And we have seen in public setting kind of a rough draft of kind of the route of the trail, but nothing specific, nothing about materials or any of the lighting or any of that. But moving forward though, so now that the survey work is complete and we have a better handle on the properties that
So the survey is complete?
that would be affected. Did they finish? the
We
survey?
finished basically through the grant, as much as we could accomplish with the money we had on boundary surveys, some geologic especially where the ramp has to be, but we're really still in a chicken and egg. And we're gonna, because, I would hate for us to spend a lot of money on the design. We have a host of permitting issues. So I tend to think we're gonna have to knock on DP's door to try to get some assistance with, how does a town navigate a project like this?
Right.
Like, it's a little big for us, and to talk to the county too. So I think we could talk more about, I don't have exact ideas for June 30th for the end of the year, but I think a couple of strategic DEP meetings, to kind of get some guidance as to how to move this.
Yeah, so we said, we said early on that this was not going to be, eventually that we did not want this to be a Highland Park led infrastructure project. We want to bring the county, we want to bring the state in as best as we can. It's a really difficult, project for us to carry out on our own. So we do need to, we need to have these meetings with the county and see what their level of involvement can be, and then take it from there. We haven't priced out, obviously we don't have a number on the ultimate cost because there's no design. But there's going to be a lot of considerable work. So this is a multi-year goal, but it's in progress. And just on that, parks development. So one thing that we can check off is, we completed a pocket park. And this is, this was a good lesson in why it's so important to prioritize things on our goals, because, a seemingly tiny park, because there were things that, kind of fell above it. It was hard to prioritize, at least at first. Mayor.
I think we should stay with the river trail.
Oh, sure.
Because if you have gone through phase one, say it's 5 phases, and you've gone through the phase one, you can say, check, phase one is done.
Right.
And then you need to meet with different stakeholders. So those are the next phase, the next phase. So you want to say, first quarter, I did this, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, something like that.
Okay.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, no, that makes sense.
Before you jump on into the next thing, just because we're trying to get the goals together, so you know where you are at each time.
Right. No, that makes sense. Thank you, Mayor. So for the river trail, the next step is to review the consultant survey work with the committee. And through the committee, we can identify next steps. So let's have that be a spring 2025.
So June 30th, meet with the committee.
By
That's
June 30th.
Okay, yeah. Okay, that's doable.
Let's do it. Gonna check that one off.
And so
still
the
have to
next,
do
so
it.
the
It
next
is doable.
phase is, you want to say meet with the county
Right.
and the state and, you know, blah, 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 and then take it in these phases.
So can we do, can we set county and state?
Just to cover, there were some meetings of that nature as part of the current iteration of the study, but yeah, I think we could say, certainly by the end of the year, we could convene a second round of those meetings, you know. Part of the problem is, like, again, which thing should we do next? You know, if we really want to make this happen.
Right.
I
I think we need to get a sense of kind of toes in the water as far as having a full, you know, well, yeah, we would need to, before we did any design work or any, you know, like you say, any additional investment, I think we need to know what partners are going to do. So that,
I think there are some key meetings we can have with some help.
thanks for getting coached by our fearless leader here. Thank you, thank you. No, this is good. Okay, so next is I'm sorry.
I hate to be nitpicky,
No,
but phase 2 is the county and state partners, right?
correct.
That's
So
what-
that's
yeah.
phase 2.
You know,
And then phase 3 is what?
oh, I thought we were gonna stop at 2. Okay.
I thought we were doing June
So
30th year end.
phase 3, well, phase 3.
Because
would
what if
be-
we say, we find a way to get a pot of money so we can move some stuff, you know what I mean? So you want to have that,
Phase 3 would be I guess would be.
Design.
Contracting and design, yeah, getting a consultant to design,
Right.
yeah.
I wouldn't permitting issue.
I really think we
I
need
think
some
we need-
advice on this one. Because
Yeah, I
you know,
don't-
it's kind of, it's circular because then they go, well, it depends on what materials you're using. So it's like,
Right.
you constantly get in this loop. So one of the things, I haven't had a chance to, I think our consultant team can meet with our committee. And together, we can figure out what we think is realistic for 2025 in terms of what the next set of meetings. I agree with you, Mayor, though, if we can identify like our next need for money. So money.
if I'm going to ask,
Yeah.
and if I'm doing the ask, like today I did the
Mhm.
ask again.
Mhm.
So if I'm out there always begging money, I need to have an idea like, okay, this is happening, this is what I need to beg money for.
A lot.
And I'm doing it a lot, so, you know, put it all out there so I can see it, so it's in my
So
head.
Terry, you're gonna, whatever, patch that one up on the drive. And
I'll
then you'll
work with Matt. We can-
real
it's kind
recirculate
of a
that,
good
yeah.
overview.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
think
yeah.
a lot of you, when we get to them, I think I was hoping you would be open to my input, like what might be realistic to the extent that I'm involved with some of these. You know, so I think this is an important one. If we want to see this happen every year, we're gonna need to just slog to make it happen.
Absolutely.
And I hear you, what you're asking. I think it's not an easy like thing, but I think we could say, if we had $300,000, what would we do next in this project? I think, and then that could be, at least we have in our hip pocket the next time we have an opportunity for a grant or, you know, and that's how we got where we are now, is we have this idea and to do a feasibility study and we got that money. So we're much further along than we would have been without.
Okay,
All right, thank you. Is that,
you're done?
yeah, no, that's it. That's it. I mean,
That could be one person's
That could be
job
one, yeah,
for a
it could be
year.
one. So next is DPW. We want to look at, and we're trying to get a meeting together this week, but we want to look at bolstering our labor force at DPW, particularly for downtown detail.
Mhm.
And this was something we talked about, having 2 permanent, workers assigned to just keep maintain the downtown.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, right? That would be,
Economic development, baby.
yeah.
Do you have openings now? I thought you had an opening.
No, this would be
No,
additional.
No, this would be.
Well,
We're
this
looking
is-
down the
this-
road.
Yeah.
This is
We're
the
gonna look
opposite
at
of
it.
what's
We're
here.
gonna-
Yeah, this is all expenditures right there.
I'm like,
I'm like, wait, what?
Tax and.
Cause I just saw it. I just saw opening. I'm like,
You
oh,
want
you
to-
got yours.
There
But
may be
we get
creative ways
money
we can
from
achieve
the
this, you
street
know,
program,
and
clean streets
so-
to,
Yeah.
for the
Oh,
one person we
fine.
have. So we want to bring some stuff in-house.
I would say, I would, no, you make it, you're absolutely right. I would say, you know, that this is the kind of, these are the kind of quality of life and, you know, and economic development, you know, it all ties together. That kind of raise up our economic vibrancy.
Of course, when we put new stuff in, we want to make sure it's clean.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yes,
Um,
especially with the plaza. and
Mhm,
everything.
mhm.
Right, so yeah, we really need to look at that. I mean, you know, trash pickup is always, you know, and it's no one's fault, but it's just always an issue, particularly on the weekends. If it snows, I mean, like, you know, in the wintertime, there's every other week, it seems like there's a Monday holiday or it snows and it prevents us from doing something that has to be put off. Even pothole filling is a challenge because there's not time, you know, most of the time. They reserve that for Wednesdays because that's the day that there are pickups. But if it's a short week, a Monday holiday, then that goes away. So, you know, potholes did get filled on Volker today. Though, by the way.
So how many bodies are you guys?
We were talking about two, right?
But I mean, it doesn't have to be all in one year. It could be,
Right.
you know,
It could be
over
phased in.
time.
Oh, well, I.
You know, we can look at existing, you know, there's ways we could do this, but
Okay.
I think, or maybe there are companies you can hire to do that work too.
Mhm,
So we can look at
mhm,
all those options to make a decision together with,
mhm.
you know, but this has been on my bucket list a long
I
time.
know.
Yes,
Yeah.
It's like we
But
got-
it's hard because it's energy and time and money and all that.
Yeah,
But, you know, we will have the new developments. We will have additional
We'll
revenues.
have
coming in.
opportunities
We'll
to,
do the
to
new
address
developments.
those needs.
So there may be ways to leverage that to
Mhm.
make this happen.
so for this, I mean, this is the exploratory year. And, you know, we're gonna have a budget discussion, I think. So let's, we can put June to, you know, produce you know, at least an initial report or proposal on our findings. You know, potential costs, and then just tied to that though is the truck. We need to get a new garbage truck.
Got some money
That's
coming
in the
our
works.
way.
Yeah, that's.
So that's one that we can check off.
We
Do
may have some more
Well,
money
yeah.
coming in. I'm waiting for a letter.
Okay, cool.
I just found out today that we may have a little bit more money coming in.
So we have some grant funding, but
I'm always
the amount we have isn't enough. So then you got us another pot, so I gotta see if I can blend them so we can cover the full.
And I might
cost.
have another pot. coming in.
Okay, but the problem, sometimes the timing doesn't work out.
Yeah.
good. But hey, beggars can't be choosers. And this is no small feat, getting one, so, you know, once you get the money, then you have to go, they gotta build
I
it.
buy it.
Yeah.
Which is hard.
Oh, they have to build, so what's
A
the
lot of times they're
timeline
not,
on
they're,
that?
sometimes you look out and there's one,
Oh.
that kind of like with the fire truck, we kind of lucked out with that. There was one that was basically met our needs that was available. But yeah, so
And
just to be advised, I know it's not always easy, especially specialty equipment.
And I told Terry that, you know, a lot of towns are gonna be feeling a lot of belly aches, so they might have stuff that we can look at that's gently used or hasn't been used as ordered and have not received, so it might be an opportunity.
Stephanie, look.
The trucks we
grant
have now
money.
are 30 years old, so that's
Mhm.
gently used.
So is that?
No, I don't mean like that. I mean like people who ordered
Revenue
stuff and they're not
question.
getting any money
Oh,
anymore.
We have
And we have
some,
our
no.
money.
and we're trying to get more grant
Yeah.
money to do that.
So is that?
Hmm.
No,
That's not a part of what
but
they
that's
already
not an
have.
Income for them, that's just kind of like, well, it can be.
I consider grants
It's income.
Yeah.
It's income, it's income.
to
Go
cover
help
something.
them.
You know,
Yeah,
you know what
I
I can do? You know what I
am.
can do, and I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Stephanie. I can tie I can.
Bring
just-
it, yeah.
I'll tie some revenue to it, because I think there are ways for us to at least offset the costs for some of these, or tie revenue raisers to a lot of these. And, I can email that to you. I can-
Even if the garbage truck is 100%, that's like a big
Yeah,
covered, big
So there-
feather.
Like, we're gonna try to go after a grant to offset some of the costs of the EV shuttle. So there are ways,
Mhm.
not that that was on your list, because it's kind of one that's in process, but you know, that's.
Well, it'll be finalized this year, so yeah, I would say yes.
Then we just have, so we need to be serious, we need to get serious about our water sewer infrastructure.
Oh, that's a
and putting a plan together for our capital improvements. I know Terry, we've been doing, you've done a lot of thought into this, and I've been, we've been working with Mike at DPW. So by June 30th, I mean, I think that we're
Before,
doing
because
the
it'll be
mid-year.
in the capital plan
Right.
will be some, I will say, I think to tie it back to economic, as everybody wants to, I have asked, and I know you weren't able to come to the meeting this week, but one of the things we're talking about with the utility is what are the water and sewer issues, like, let's get the sewer and the water line addressed under the plaza, so we never have to rip it up for a water main, right? Or maybe in front of track C, like what needs to be done there, and track A, so tying some of the prioritization to our economic development and our redevelopment. So they're getting us a
100%.
proposal for that.
No, I would hope that all of these are kind of viewed in that context of, kind of.
Well, in the best case, yeah, but sometimes it's, sometimes we have to chase after like the worst leaky pipes, and then there's no choice.
But
But
that's a big one, right?
a
That's
big
like
one.
This is
all,
big, but I think it's
12
gonna be,
months.
that's just ongoing, and that we have, it's not only just required, it's, I mean, not a good idea, it's required. Basically, there's a timeline for how long you have to replace your water mains. They gauge out at 120, 150 years. So that seems like, oh, that's forever for now. But
No, it's here.
if you got
This
30
is
miles
like-
of them, you
Right.
gotta start somewhere.
So this would be really the first year, so we can check, we can cross that off when the council has a, really deep understanding of the road ahead. What some of the issues are, and then we can talk about options and how we want to proceed. So that's before June 30th, so that's good. I'm gonna wrap up soon, I'm sorry. Just we talked about DPW. I do the brand new, and this could obviously depend a lot on the fiscal, health of the state, but is to, really source, site locations for potential splash park or kind of performance space in Donaldson Park. That's a conversation that, I really would love to have with the county. There's a lot of, there's existing infrastructure there. Everyone always talks about the flooding, but that has nothing to do with it. These materials are meant to withstand water. I think having, either, we lost the pavilion down there. And there is a lot of space back there. So it might be interesting to, at least get a better sense. Now, this would be a park improvement. Yeah, an amphitheater and a spray park. Spray park has been on a lot of people's minds for a long time.
and that kind of
A long
works with.
time. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, so that would be, that would be a joint, we would work together on that. But that's something that, I kind of committed to, because it's been bandied about for a long time. And we can probably just look into it. So that is, I would say even fall 2025, for at least a report back on what's possible.
So meeting with the county, talking
Yeah.
with them.
Cool. The last thing, and this isn't anything that will cost anything, but thank you for, the mayor and council president agreed to, so we have through the Highland Park Housing Authority, we have the Highland Park Affordable Housing Corp, which was a required financial agent that we had to create when the Housing Authority underwent its rental assistance demonstration conversion through HUD. What that program is that it allows our public housing authority to retain public ownership and public stewardship while partnering with a private bank to help pay for capital needs. They needed a new roof, they needed new bathrooms. I mean, it was like, in public housing, there's just no money for it. So, however, one of the upsides is that this Affordable Housing Corp, which is basically, just a required, fiscal agent, right, entity, is also stocked with, some really great housing thinkers in the state. A couple of folks who used to be at DCA, Ron Wong, who was on our library board, Jason Rowe, who helps, write affordable housing plans all over. And so this entity would be kind of just advisory with administration, legal, mayor, council, to make recommendations on our affordable housing plan, which is due this year. We have a real opportunity.
June
It's due
30th.
June 30th. Right, so that's a June 30th goal. Our plan is due June 30th. We've hit the requisite benchmark so far by passing the resolution. But there's a lot of really creative ways to meet our obligations, and our obligations are modest. So I think that there's just without building monolithic things everywhere, there's some really cool ways that we can right, ADUs, two-family, infill, that type of thing, where most towns, they try to just knock out their obligations through building something big, and we can't do that. And also, we're gonna get units from redevelopment. So, so that I think that'll be, having their insight and input, I think will be really important.
Can I ask a question on the
Yeah.
affordable housing plan that we have to adopt by June 30th? Do accessory dwelling units help in that? or not?
Yeah,
They do?
they're in there. They're in the law. We get credit.
They have to be like
Deed restricted.
deed restricted,
Yeah.
not like you have a garage.
I'm glad that came up
and,
because
you
that was
know,
one of the things I wanted us to talk
Yeah,
about tonight.
so,
So,
yeah.
so if Habitat for Humanity comes to town, does a home, and there's a shed in the back, they could also turn that into a ADU, but they would manage the deed restrictions on it, the 40 years for rental.
Okay.
So, I mean, you can still build an ADU, but it's only gonna count as an affordable housing credit if it's
Then if you don't know.
deed restricted.
Or
No,
you-
no, but it
No,
would,
no regular person's gonna do it.
right.
It's a lot to manage.
So do we need to move forward on some version of accessory dwelling? Or because we don't have one, I mean, we have sort of them, kind of, but
There's a state law that is on the move that would
This would be
provide
in
us
the plan.
guidance.
We don't
Yeah,
have to have,
right.
the
okay.
plan
Yeah,
would
we're not
say,
building
we're gonna
that.
do this or that. If we decide that ADUs are a good idea, we can implement it after the plan gets adopted.
Okay.
So
so you
the
need-
plan
10
needs to
years.
say, this is how we're gonna do it. And then we can and so we'll have to weigh out. And just to be clear, there is going to be, I'm just gonna use a promo for next week, Rezo on to hire Clark Hayden Hinds to actually do the work of drafting the plan with the input of us and the committee. So I hope you will support that next week. In the interest of this June 30th deadline, so we're gonna probably highlight a bunch of ideas. We'll figure out what we need to do to meet our obligation, but we might tee up some ideas that are just good ideas. We don't necessarily need it for our obligation, but it's a good idea.
Okay.
And just for what it's worth, since we have this opportunity, I did just want to mention Sustainable Highland Park is working on a gas powered leaf blower ordinance with a consortium of representatives from Board of Health and so that is and this would be treated like no action yet, but it would be in the we would be working on it and kind of
So it's like
educational-
recommendations.
recommendation, education, that kind of phase, so no formal action yet for that.
That's good. So they're not disenfranchised minority workers.
Right, yeah, a lot to consider, right?
Yeah, I remember when Phil brought this up a while ago too, I think.
It's been on their list for a long time. when we was even
Yeah, I
back to when he
remember.
was
Yeah,
on.
they wanted to, so there's a couple things on here that have been kind of goals for a long time. And they've seemed reasonable and, support them. So we're just gonna, some of them we need to do a due diligence, but they're really leading that effort. And similar to the plastic bag ordinance where there was, a survey, kind of outreach, seminars, educational, stuff. So we'll see that this year. So I don't have a timeline necessarily. But I did just want.
But that would be an ongoing list.
Yeah. Thank you.
Wait.
I have, for your revenue one, I had an idea. So like bulk pickup. I know we have a certain amount that it's free. I know I'm on camera, but this is just an idea. I know someone that lives in like Maplewood, none of their bulk pickups are free, but you don't have to do that. But I'm just saying, anything excessive past three,
It's on my list too.
past three, what are the fees for that? What do we, I mean, some of us, we have like fees that's been there forever, that we just, it is what it is, but you know,
Yeah.
maybe we can look at that as a
Maybe there's,
exercise or.
so they do the, you know, they have the free pickups, but maybe. Yeah, I know, I think that's
Additional
a good
pickups, so you have
additional
more than the
pickups
one
throughout
free
the
pickup.
year, but it would.
Yeah,
but
because
per
I
fee.
mean, yeah, if I know I only got 1 or 2 pickups, I'm gonna be very,
Right.
you know, cautious. And then your labor goes back to your labor and where you're managing the people and, you know.
No, that's a really good idea. Okay, we will explore that. Public Works Committee. Cool. Cool. Why do I still think you're on?
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Regarding the possible leaf blower ordinance, can you just give us like a
Yeah.
quick scope of what they're thinking about, maybe?
Yes.
Is that all right?
So some other towns have put in, you know, to place some guardrails on when gas powered leaf blowers, commercial gas powered commercial leaf blowers and equipment can be used certain times of day, certain times of year. I think we really started to hear a lot about it during the pandemic when people were home and people realized like
Right.
these things run all day long and it's noisy. It's, you know, it's not healthy for us or for the workers. It does make sense to have some, you know, kind of guardrails in place, you know, when it comes to the noise and just the activity. And you see it too. I mean, some of these double long trailers that we see kind of taking up the intersections, those didn't exist 15 years ago. So like now it's like, I mean, so it's increasing. Like it may have been a problem before, but now it's just off the charts. I mean, it really, I would agree that that's, you know, but yeah, a lot to consider. So we have to
Give it till
So
spring,
we're
you'll
just
find out if we
talking
have a
about
problem or
time?
not, because
we'll walk
migrant
slowly.
workers are not here anymore.
Right, we're gonna walk slowly.
So you're talking about more like time versus the actual equipment that's used, or both?
That's gonna be, that's what we're working on, sustainable. We're looking at what some of the other, you know, towns like Maplewood, Princeton, they have, you know, similar efforts that didn't do an all-out ban. But it did put restrictions, particularly during like, you know, spring and fall. We really did see a lot of activity.
I just want, if you want to bone up on it, Sustainable Jersey, they have a new action
I'll
all
send
about
that.
this. So,
Yeah, I'll send that
yeah,
around.
yeah.
Send it around?
And so
Yeah.
that gives you, and you can get variable points. So you can do just education,
Right.
you could do an ordinance, you don't have to do all of it to get the points. So I think that's one of the things we were hoping to guide them towards, so we could also collect some points along the way.
One of the things that we spent a lot of time so far this year doing is getting Jacob up to speed with the administrative Sustainable Jersey actions that we do and how that fits in with what Sustainable Highland Park wants to do for these actions. So I'll send the link around. Basically, this is what gets us our Sustainable Jersey certification. We are among the leaders in the state, and it does open us up to more funding. So Council Pros, there's some revenue because if we can get more grants out of this environmental work, then that's a good thing.
One of the major drivers was people in the pandemic, when they started 7 o'clock in the morning, people get upset because it was too early. But if you're a landscaper and this is your only way to make a living, somebody's gonna have to be inconvenienced, because this way you're taking food off people who have children to feed, you're taking away food from their plate. And I think that needs to be a great consideration when we make these whopping changes, that we live nice and comfy, but don't have the same option.
And sometimes these people have 2 jobs. They start
That-
out very
yes, they
early
start and then go to
their
the next
second
one.
job.
No question.
Oftentimes,
No
that's what it
question.
is.
We're coming at it. We're coming at it
Range
from
of ways you can
yeah.
approach the situation based on what the group
Right.
thinks makes sense.
I did just want to mention STAC, Shade Tree Advisory, because that's important. So we did just go out to, you know, we accepted a new tree planting consultant for the tree planting project, SJC Lawn Care. So that's good. So we'll be working with them. That's not
That's a
necessarily,
goal.
that's that's but
That's
then
just
the
FYI.
community forestry management plan is a 5-year plan done with the Shade Tree Advisory Committee that we have to develop this year and check off.
Okay.
So that's.
It's important for some of our liability issues with respect to tree maintenance and so forth. And so that's a big, it's an undertaking. Staff will take a lot of leave, but we're also getting a grant, hopefully.
Yeah, we have a lot of trees aging out that were, planted at the same time
Yes,
100 years ago, whatever. So,
I'm hearing the complaints.
yeah, thanks, everybody. Thanks for the questions too.
Great. Thanks, Matt, for that. Jason, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you, Council President. So I'm relatively new to the Health and Human Services world, so I'm still getting my footing. But I sort of broke down.
I'm sorry, Jason, I have to get the chart.
Oh,
You
yeah,
are.
no worries.
Health
Health and Human Services. So yes, I'm new to that, still finding out, getting my footing. But I broke this down, I think, into three main categories. The first up was health. And let me just step back for a second just to say that pretty much all of my goals and priorities within my bucket should be more or less in a 3 to 6 months time frame. There's no really huge long-term things at the moment. So anyway, let me dive right into it and move things along. So first up was health. A number of priorities there. One of the first projects I talked about in the first Board of Health meeting this year was to consolidate and update the borough's health code provisions, because apparently they're scattered across the current code, so it's a little bit hard to navigate. But also someone with a lot of expertise in this area in the Board of Health had identified a number of areas where we may not have kind of the current standard requirements and practices. And I guess, in terms of revenue, this may be one of the few areas that I think there are opportunities with my bucket would be to, if there's any fees or anything we find that some are sorely outdated, perhaps there may be some opportunities for updates there. I think by and large, a lot of this was looking at just sort of consolidating and putting it together so that it's easy to find everything and understand everything, and then to make some substantive updates where we feel like, we're falling a little bit shy of what is sort of the standard practice. Another goal within the health area was to make mental health part of the work of the Board of Health. So it's something that they have taken on in the past, and they continue to do so. But we thought it make sense to kind of tackle physical and mental health holistically, address them together. So, we may have form a subcommittee, but and we had in the past, there was the Mental Health Commission, which was just a temporary body by resolution. So we think this might be an opportunity to bring that back. Then again, also without having yet another board and commission, so we keep things from getting too unwieldy and make it a little easier to manage these issues. And we haven't had an opportunity to discuss it with the full Board of Health just yet. But the chair was open to it, so those discussions have begun, and that's something that we're looking at and I'd like to see happen. And then the last in the health arena, also the Board of Health, was so they reached out and expressed an interest in hearing from what the Council of Mayor's priorities would be for us, for them. And what immediately jumped to mind for me was I think it would be very helpful for them to kind of stay abreast and stay up to date on all of the any health policy updates coming out at the federal level, so that if there's a need to ensure that our residents have access to information that is grounded in medical fact and science.
Yeah, no, but that's gonna be a task for 2020.
That's gonna be definitely challenging.
We've identified that as a possible area where it might be good to have some more information accessible to our residents.
We didn't even say anything, and we just
I
know what it is.
So those
I drink
were,
unpasteurized milk. That's why I have a worm in my brain. Yeah.
Oh, great.
so that was health. Some manageable goals there, I think. And again, nothing that should, well, I guess that last one might be a little bit sort of an ongoing basis.
And,
for
and
the
this
coming
one
years.
would require an ordinance at some point, I guess.
Yes, so
So we
again,
might get the
there's-
work done in the first half. And,
Oh, yeah, because then it gotta go.
Absolutely. So that'll, so hoping to maybe have kind of a rough draft. We have, one person with expertise in this area kind of looking at it, and last I heard, there may be a third or half the way done.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Oh,
you're further
this is
along than I
volunteer.
thought. I was thinking that was ambitious for 6 months, but if they're already started.
Yeah, the
We
work
got
has
serious
already begun,
expertise.
and, hopefully, time permitting from, this volunteer, because, graciously offering up their expertise. Hopefully we'll have, a product that we can work with in the coming months and take it from there. I know they're looking at like other municipalities, health codes to, get kind of try to make sure that we're up to date with our requirements. So moving on to the next area, second of the three is accessibility. And first, which is probably going to be a joint effort with my colleague Norma, would be to get the new community center bus, have that up and running as soon as possible. So I know we approved the funding for that, and I guess apparently looking for additional funding opportunities to support that. But that's certainly priority, amongst the many things I have to do, but hopefully that was something that will come to fruition in the coming months. Another priority within the accessibility bucket was making it safer to get around our sidewalks through improved snow and ice removal strategies, particularly downtown. So I talked about this with Matt Hirsch, to specify, a couple of potential ideas to maybe rework how we enforce matters, and or maybe just explore new strategies for just dedicate for bringing on additional staff to kind of help maintain the downtown. Maybe that could become a function that they do on behalf of the entire downtown, all the businesses, and residents.
I would love that.
Or at least get those corners.
Mhm.
That's always a problem.
Wait, but this is the corners during snow.
They're doing the
just in
corners
general.
now, right?
Yeah, but it would be great if, we weren't diverting
Right,
laborers to that.
Yeah.
when they have other
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
Right, yeah, so we have
Yeah.
to see, explore that, that's just, one possibility. So I'm sure there's different ways to approach it, but I think the goal at the end of the day is to try to develop some new strategies to make sure that we don't have gaps in snow and ice removal down. And then staying kind of in that lane of making it safer to get around our sidewalks is just there's some sidewalk and paver repairs downtown and next to public buildings such as the library. I know that's sort of being explored, so I'd like to continue to stay on top of that. And implementing the Safe Routes to School grants, which that one is probably a little bit more longer term, and it's something that's certainly been in
I
the
think
works for
phase one, we
many.
might be able to bang
Yeah.
out this year.
Well, might
Phase
have
to.
two,
So fingers
maybe
crossed.
next year.
But
Push
certainly,
Charlotte just took, 10 years.
yeah, I mean, but
Now
now,
those out of Christmas.
Oh,
for reasons largely out of our hands, and hopefully now we're able to move those forward. So I guess that one maybe is a 3 to 6 month thing, but hopefully that'll be something that we can do in the next year or two.
I mean, have you, for the sidewalks, what do we want to do by 6 months?
Have a,
I'm sorry. I should have asked.
or are we talking about this in terms?
You're
that
kind
way-
of generalized downtown sidewalks, make them better.
Are you talking
That
about
sounded
this-
like maintenance to me. I was just trying, is there something specific? we're
Are-
trying to do?
Well, are you talking about in reference to the snow and ice removal? Or
No,
just
I
the
meant more
repairs?
generally.
Just-
I understood what you were saying. about
Okay, well,
sidewalks.
so I just have heard that there's for instance, in front of the library, there's a few of the pavers sort of out of place.
So it's
and then I've
mostly
heard-
maintenance.
It's
issues.
mostly,
Okay.
oh, yes, I'm sorry, yeah, that wasn't clear. It's mostly the maintenance to make sure that things are in good shape. But I see a lot of other hands went up.
I guess.
Please add to it. Acting chair.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is.
We're looking at you going, what?
Oh, because I was thinking too, because where he's coming from.
Of course.
Age for beauty.
Mayor, you have the
Oh,
floor.
I'll go for it.
No, okay.
I totally messed them up.
I like our work session. This is nice.
Okay,
Go ahead. You first.
I was gonna add that this past snowfall in front of Wells Fargo, it was dismal.
That's what I was thinking of when I was talking about.
And
that. There were a
I
lot of
think that we
complaints.
should have something for vacant properties, that we have a maintenance plan, so when they're not here to take care of their own property, we have to have something written. And so we will send them and say, if you don't remove this within 24 hours based on our ordinances, we will do the work and we will tax you, that kind of thing.
We can do that, and I should just noted, I'll talk to you. It's complicated.
I know it is. I know it is
That
not as
means
simple as I
where
said.
Public Works now is doing private cleaning of sidewalks
That's.
and not doing the other things, you know.
I
that's-
get it. Or maybe
No,
we
just-
can
but
hire
we can do
somebody
that
out
now.
and just
We
like,
do that now. We do that now.
I was just spitballing so that
That
in
place
3 to
was so
6
bad.
months, we would
they
have
should
like an
have a
updated plan
it should be
to
fine.
settle
And
on
they
either
like-
like
they rather
a
pay the
particular
fine.
strategy like that,
Yeah.
or maybe
Find them
having,
and remove the stuff too.
I don't know, maybe Main Street could
Mhm.
have, or hire someone to
Make some
kind of
money
take
out
care
of
of it for all the businesses. So,
Some
yeah,
towns
or-
do that.
There's,
Can I go now?
Yes, you have the floor. I'm sorry. I'm waiting for you
So-
to talk,
so-
just looking at you. Because I'm
So
not used to.
The downtown focus and the enforcement, maintenance and all of those things.
Mhm.
What Matt was saying earlier about hiring additional laborers specifically focused on downtown. I would love to see a set of bodies that their job is cleaning up, fixing up, doing everything in downtown. Like if, I think that's a worthy expenditure where we have a dedicated folks that their entire job is to make sure soup to nuts from all up and downtown, that the garbage is where it's supposed to be. If they need to get, notes to people about snow, if they, like if we had a downtown cleanup team who was part of the DEP, I think that would be it would be expensive, but I think it would be something worthwhile.
We need a downtown czar.
I mean, maybe there's something,
Tiles and tree grates and all that.
any of
stuff,
those
yeah.
things, right? I mean, maybe that's something that would, maybe there's a partnership with Main Street and that could do something like that, but some sort of dedicated labor force to cleaning downtown, I think would be.
We have to figure out, like, is it can 2 bodies do, like, I don't think 2 bodies could do everything and shovel for everybody, so, but they can certainly back up from the Wells Fargo's
Right.
budget and, we can, so I think there's a lot of merit to this whole, but it's gonna cost. And so we gotta figure out time.
Stephanie said she'd pay, no problem.
Oh, I forgot. Okay.
She's just writing checks.
She got deep pockets.
oh.
Fortunately, I don't have cops grants for DPW.
I have a question for.
Okay.
Okay. Are we taking up too much time?
No.
I may need a bio break at some point there.
Yeah. Are we, and I'm not making a suggestion, but are we thinking about expanding the community center?
That's,
For,
That's the wrong
well, I
one.
know.
oh, yeah, that.
I'm happy to talk about the community center because that was part of my beloved bucket for a while.
We'll leave that
but
for
that
Norma.
might
She
be-
has
that-
like
yeah,
a
I'm
book
sorry.
report
No,
for
that-
us.
Okay. Yeah, because that
I'd
was,
love to hear more about expanding the community center idea.
Yeah, that idea.
Yeah,
has been
that's-
floated
Just
around.
remember, we got a big space going downtown.
We do.
Yeah, I don't know where.
Space ourselves.
Up?
It's-
yeah.
Jason, are you
Putting on a new roof this year.
Oh, no.
Oh,
So-
yeah.
I know.
Can't put it
We
all.
move back to next question, or yes, we can certainly move to the next one. And thank you for your comments, because I do also just want to say that I agree it's a worthwhile expenditure. I think it will have benefits to help everyone be able to get around safely, but also have enormous economic development.
What a
benefits.
Talking
plug.
about the labor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just bringing
yeah,
it back to
yeah.
the. yeah,
Cause it
cleaning
hits
up-
all
And I'm-
kind of like
That's
all
my
buckets.
goal. Goal.
And he has half of the support here, I guess.
We love your
We have to
goal.
make sure we manage it right. We know how it's gonna work, what
Yeah.
the expectations are.
Yeah.
It's not just a matter of hiring 2 people. We have to.
Mhm.
So again, like the only goal
Well
for,
thought out. yeah.
so yeah, the 3 to 6 month goals to maybe just start to figure out like what those strategies that we're gonna pursue and then implement.
And what's good about the Public Works and Public Utilities Committee also is because, it's Phil, who has a lot of expertise there. And then that, who is the pulse of the downtown and can, that's gonna be really important.
Huge,
since it's
yeah.
the-
Great.
All right.
Third bucket?
I'm not at the third thing just yet, so staying within accessibility. A couple of smaller ones. So one thing I want to look at, and this again, that's something I spoke about with Matt Hirsch briefly. was partnering the borough and the Affordable Housing Corporation to address certain maintenance issues at the Cronin Building. Because we've heard some complaints that some sort of like
Which
maintenance of the
building?
sidewalks. The Cronin.
Right
oh,
here,
that's
right
the-
here, the
the
senior
senior
building.
building
Oh, yeah,
on
yeah.
South Sixth. Yeah, the taller one right
The
here.
Housing Authority building, the tall
Okay.
one.
Yeah, because
He went all fancy and us, we were like, what?
It's not for seniors only, that
And-
one,
and,
the senior one's
uh,
across. the street.
55
too?
plus.
That's the
Then you were
taller one.
It's age and disability.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think that there were some accessibility improvements needed to some, like the immediate surrounding perimeter, just sidewalks again, around the back entrance and some cutouts. But I don't think it's exactly clear who's gonna be primarily responsible for that, so trying to ascertain where we can dedicate resources to make those improvements.
We've been talking about a lot about that one. Yeah.
Supporting this Highland Park Schools GLOW program, which is the Growth and Learning Outside Walls program.
The what program?
Well, I'll explain the GLOW,
Glow.
which teaches students across ability levels on how to develop skills necessary to lead a productive and independent life outside the classroom. So I know that's something the Commission for Universal Access was looking to support financially this year. It's certainly a worthwhile goal. So I think that's just part of the budget process. Sorry, it's not a revenue raiser, but I'd be using some of like, I guess, some of the Commission's expected budget to,
This is.
Okay, we can do that.
yes.
They have their own.
Yes, and they want to
You
use.
take our
Yeah,
budget,
they
you
have
can't
to
do
have a
that.
good amount.
Yeah, they have, okay, well, that's good, because they want to have that good amount of money and use some of it for this very worthwhile program at the school. So, I think that's also just good in the
I think
spirit
they
of
can
partnering
use
with the
that for that,
schools.
right?
They've done it in the
I don't
past,
think
I jumped the gun, she asked me about it, I said, just do it this year,
Oh,
put it in it's in your budget, do it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yes, I
They
think,
lost track of it last year.
Oh, okay.
and the goal now to just.
We need a
be to-
bio break. Need a break. We have a
These chairs
bio.
are terrible.
Oh,
She
yeah,
definitely-
Maybe, yeah, 'cause it's almost not.
We have a
Oh my
bio
gosh.
break. Should we have a little bio break?
Yeah.
Can I move to for a quick
Do you wanna
5-minute
wrap that
break?
last idea up?
I can wrap it up pretty
Can we put
quickly.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, wrap it up quick and then we go for a break.
Oh, one other thing was to start exploring audio signals at key downtown intersections to help make it safer for blind and visually impaired residents to
Can I
cross
give
the
you a good
street.
one?
Yeah.
Woodbridge will have that. So
Woodbridge
at least
will
that'll be
have
one
that.
check off. Woodbridge Avenue,
So
they're
that's-
upgrading 11th.
That's fantastic. So I guess like maybe we'd start thinking about where we can find funding to support those improvements for maybe, Raritan Avenue.
Well, that's
Are you
called a
talking
DOT,
like-
that's DOT.
Are you-
So we would need
And
DOT to
please
promote it.
make sure you're in compliance with Sabbath observance. That was a big thing when we had them, and we had to take them out.
Is this similar?
Not
to
that
what
we
New
didn't have them
Brunswick has
before.
downtown? The
Yes.
Wait.
Yes, that was sort of the
yeah.
Do not cross.
Yeah.
Holland Street.
Oh, oh,
Yeah, you gotta make sure for the
Yes.
observance people.
That was the inspiration. Oh, wait, the last
Maybe the
area
mayor
was
would be the
human
voice of this.
relations. We have brand new co-chairs. It's been in great shape under Norma's
So this is
leadership. for the
number
past
3
few years.
now?
Yeah, this is number 3. So yeah, we're the third and
Yeah,
final.
he's just gonna wrap his.
Yeah. Trying to go through this quickly. So we have the brand new co-chairs taking over, help them get up and running. We want to continue existing programming and build on that. So start exploring some new initiatives centered around bridging divides, bringing people together. I think everyone can agree right now feels especially divisive and divided, especially what's coming out of
Just a tad.
Washington. And that doesn't help anyone. Certainly doesn't make for a strong, successful society. So looking forward to seeing some new efforts there to just sort of help push back on that and bring people together and build a stronger community here in Highland Park. And then the other thing was just to help identify, we have a number of vacancies on that, on the commission, on the Human Relations Commission. So we will have a new one soon, but we still have plenty of vacancies. So we identify and recruit some additional members. That was it. So.
So.
A 5-minute potty break. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. The state had did a whole thing on it.
Mayor, I know we're getting towards 9 o'clock.
Yeah,
we're
we're
gonna
gonna
have a meeting.
Oh, yes. Can I move for extension of our meeting?
Yes.
I need to verbal.
Do we? Yeah.
Move for extension? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we extend for another half an hour. We still have to follow all the laws. Okay, so are we done, Jason?
I'm done. If anyone had any questions or comments or concerns, I'm happy to do my best to field them.
Yes, I know. Did you do a revenue? Or did you?
I
I know,
So we talked about.
I have this portfolio and I know your what is this, the purchase orders we get, you really don't have anything.
No, I
in
don't
there.
know. Yeah,
Like, you're
we
not really
signed.
spending anything. So.
And there may be some Board of Health fees.
Right, that's what the thing, well,
So
as
we did
we're going
identify
through the
Board of
combing.
Health fees
For.
for inspections or whatever, like he's gonna look at.
Oh,
them.
yes,
Yeah, so
yes,
that's
yes,
being
yes, yes.
examined, so that's
Oh,
what-
yeah, that is,
Got the dollar
yeah, I
signs up
remember
there.
that one.
Yeah, so that's-
Okay, okay, okay.
We'll look for opportunities.
I
there.
should have brought
Just-
a
I
green
mentioned-
pen through Stephanie and highlighted.
Yeah,
it.
Dollar.
Not that we're trying to like increase cost for, our local businesses, but to the extent that there may be some severely outdated fees.
Yes,
that
yes.
are not
yes.
in line
So
with
you're just
what's the
gonna
norm.
review Board of Health.
Not me personally, but yes. that would
Yes,
be
yes,
something I would
that's
look
gonna,
into,
yeah, yeah.
'Cause
And
code
then,
enforcement,
what about the mayor's
She
wellness
has some
committee
issues.
thing?
yeah.
I know that's been like, they
Oh,
had a
Mayor's
grant
Wellness?
a while ago.
Oh, sorry.
That was really,
That's been really quiet for us, so that's like, so I'm getting the HRC
Mayor likes it.
back up and running, but yeah, that's something worth exploring.
The mayor's wellness, like it fell under me, but I met with Dr. Lacy maybe about 3 weeks ago. And it was in December, and he was really concerned when the bird flu was going. And that's when there was real information coming out of Washington. And he was talking to the folks there because he was monitoring and watching what's going on. So he said he would, if there is a need, he would call an emergency meeting of the team, the emergency, all the doctors on the team, he would call that meeting. I saw him maybe 3 weeks ago, and information is sketchy at the most that he can get out of Washington, so they really don't know. But the local monitoring amongst different medical profession, different state that's going on. So should there be something that they're aware of, they can tell us state by state, but they won't have that direct information of what's exactly happening because that has been closed down to keep us in the dark. So if they only come together like during the pandemic or there's an emergency and that team comes together, yeah.
okay.
No, just a comment about the mayor's wellness. Would that be under Health and Human Services?
Yeah, it is. That's
is,
what I'm
okay.
looking at.
No, because I thought that was a really, that when that was functional, remember, it was really cool. We used cable access. We recorded programs with local chefs, in the kitchen.
Yeah, I remember that.
Remember that? Yeah.
It was like healthy.
Healthy eating. So-
Yeah,
So there was
yes,
an
yes.
economic development
Yeah,
component to
and
it.
Gail
too.
used to do like 6 a.m. morning
Oh, the
at
walks, right, yeah.
Kinetics.
But no, it was cool. And like,
I guess.
so yeah, you're at the gym. It's the
Yeah, I do remember the walls.
no, the
6 a.m. I look like that's worked over.
oh my god. Yeah.
Well, the mayor of Woodbridge also he received like an award for that or something. I don't know, but
We
I
need to
think
get
the
back on that
liaison.
program.
But I think a liaison or something. But
What is it? Double body jumping.
So we met somebody a couple years ago, the woman Kristen Fields, who was really interested, started coming to some events, and she was really interested in, doing kind of a healthy eating, kind of, let's get healthy Highland Park, stuff like that. So I don't know. I love that idea. I think it's super
Let
cool.
me say this, I don't know, that program you guys are describing, it's great. Let me start off by saying that. The piece where Dr. Lacy is involved with the medical profession at St. Peter's, at Robert Wood Johnson, Barnabas, that is not that piece.
That's right.
They're looking at infectious
That's more like
diseases
a
and.
Board of Health.
That's more like,
function.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
was-
yeah, that's
Yeah,
another piece, the piece that falls under my purview, it's not
Oh,
that piece.
yeah.
Might be a better use of.
Or,
as a res-
yeah.
As a resources, or it'd be at least a.
And he,
Very
and for lack of a better term, he's not gonna do the day-to-day.
Yeah.
But if there's something major coming up on the horizon, and to keep us in the loop, he will be there to share.
Like a COVID committee.
But like to come do this cooking, blah, blah, blah. Okay,
Cool.
I mean,
All right.
all right,
All right.
Next. I'm sorry. that's not mine.
Councilmember Vargas, right?
I don't know how much you're gonna need that, but okay. So being that I am new, not just to the council, but to this bucket, the goals that I wrote down were more personal goals things that I have to do in order to get to know my different committees a little bit better, then that will help me formulate my longer term goals. So obviously I support Mayor Foster's all her initiatives and goals. Like
I only heard two people say it. Yeah, you know, I'm watching you.
Yeah.
We ran with you. With
I actually wrote that down
Why?
before you said it. I had it down here. I wrote it. Okay, anyway, so
Mayor, we have 3. That's all we need.
Okay, I'm watching. Thank you, thank you.
okay, so what I did was I listed all the different all the different committees that I oversee, and also what their responsibilities are, just as more as a reminder to myself, kind of like this will help me stay focused and will help me get to know what I need to be doing a little bit better. So one of the things that I want to find out from the recreation department is, how is the enrollment registration in the adult and youth programs tracked? Has it been growing? Has it been decreasing? I would like to know like how that's going, and based on that we can see, okay, so this is okay. If it's not growing, why isn't it growing? Maybe we need to, are the prices too high? Are we not offering attractive programs? So those are the types of things that I would like to explore. Again, is affordability an issue? I would like to see what the percentage of increasing fees has been from year to year to kind of gauge where we should be at. Should we be increasing our
We did that, I
Right.
remember.
should we be increasing our fees? And if we are going to be increased, how will that impact? I know we have lower rates for families in need. How will increasing those rates will impact them? Do we have to raise them? So it's a lot of research that I have to do in order to figure out where to go.
They
the
have a
same
lot
thing-
of that if you request.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have to sit down with Kim and just get it all. Same thing with summer camp has our summer camp been growing? Have they made, I know that one of the important things that swim is a huge thing. From my understanding is we don't have like a solid swim program in our recreation camp. And I would like to explore the ideas. I know you brought up that through email, a possible partnership with Piscataway, with other places. So I would like to sit down with their leadership and find out how we can strengthen their swim program, because swimming is such a vital skill for kids to have. And since we don't have a community pool, and so it might not be something that's accessible to a lot of people. So I would like to explore how we can make that work for more kids in the community, particularly in summer camp, because that's generally where most kids learn to swim, in summer camp. So I would like to explore those ideas with them. Yeah,
Just jump in.
you might know more about
Yeah.
this because this
Yes,
was your book.
okay.
Just to
You
give you a
have the
little
floor.
background from what little bit I know about the swimming part, is that the summer camp prior to the pandemic did offer swimming, and I think if I remember correctly, they went to maybe it was an Edison Municipal Pool. Definitely the pool was in Edison, and they had some kind of arrangement where they would take the kids once or twice a week. So certainly that could be something to explore again. But yeah, then also just the idea with the Piscataway pool was, and that could be a potential partner for the summer camp program, but also like they offer discounted membership to fly there for their residents, and if somehow we can partner with
Right,
them to
yeah.
offer the discount.
I just wanted to add, do you mean the Clark pool and also the Oak?
We used to take them to Oak Crest.
Okay, the Oak Crest,
Mhm.
okay, because I believe those are the 2 programs.
It is, it's Oak
Yeah.
I
Crest.
think it
And
was
then
the
there's-
Oakcrest. Yeah.
And Clark, okay,
Mhm.
yeah, because the Clark pool, community pool is right on the border, and they have I think a lot of that is kids go there too.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Oak Crest is like right down.
Yeah.
Is that in there, right?
it's off of Inman, and then off Featherbed is the
Yeah,
Clark
yeah.
one,
Right,
which is
Oh, I
right
know
around the
what that
corner
is.
from that.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So again, just writing a list of things for me to research. Regarding the Department of Aging, how can we engage more of our senior community? There's been times where I walk in there, there's like, they have great programs, but there's not a lot of people coming. So how can we make it, is it an accessibility issue? Are there seniors living not in that area that can't that don't drive, so I would like to meet with Kim and find out, what some of their challenges are, if she knows, in getting people to the senior center, and how do we get the word out about the great services that they have. They have amazing programs and services. So how do we get more people into the community center? Have we considered partnering with other senior centers in other towns to collaborate on bigger programs perhaps, which would be maybe make it more affordable, but then if the program is in the other town, it might be more expensive because we might have to invest in transportation there, but depending on the program, it might work and it might balance out. I would love to see more involvement between the youth community and the senior community. So I would like to see if we can develop some programs to bring those two together. I know we have down at the community center, we often have Edison High School and Metuchen High School comes in and they do programs. I know they do that for the Silver Lunar Year. How can we involve our high school kids here in Highland Park in the senior center and getting them to do programs, whether it's music, dance, or theater, just something to that effect.
So wait, is this all 6:30, 2025?
I mean, these are kind of short-term goals because I kind of,
Okay, so this is.
I would say by
6 months.
June, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay.
Well, you can do your evaluation, but it may take you a little longer to figure out, okay, what do we do?
Right.
Yeah, what,
Onboarding and assessing, I think that's a good.
Right, yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's what.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanna,
Fresh eyes.
one of the ideas
Yes,
was, and some of you might have the answer to this, is I know that the supermarkets, they offer like a senior discount program, but do we have like anything like that for the local restaurants? Is that something that we can explore as well, to have like a senior day or something to that effect?
The nail salon used to have senior days. I know they used to have that.
Some of them have like a senior menu. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I'm just curious about these things. Regarding Park Stock, I would love, that's being organized right now. I would love to diversify the musical acts a little bit more. That's something that they're exploring right now. One of the ideas I would like to pitch to them is to actually have a kids musical act. What?
No.
Oh, what's going on
Sorry.
there?
Hey, order.
Yeah, get
Oh,
those.
yeah.
Okay.
Order in the court.
So I would love for them to have kids musical act one night for Park Stock, a family night where everybody can come down. I don't think that's been done in the previous one, and I'm not sure if that's hard, but I think it would be nice to have.
Yeah,
we
we
have-
always had made like professional.
I'm
Right?
thinking like a Mr.
Florida
Ray.
band.
kind of
Like a
feel.
Mr. Ray, like kind
Right.
of thing. and, like,
We have
yeah.
Mr. Did we ever have Mr. Ray?
I don't think so, but
But,
that
well,
was,
we had Mr. Ray at many an event.
Yeah.
Right.
but something
So-
like that.
Yeah, but like.
Yeah, I
if
get
we
the,
do-
I wrote it down. You-
Right, yeah, so maybe we could have that at Park Stock.
We know Mr. Ray.
Some house music.
Just kids music.
Them house music festival.
You perform sometimes at the 4th of July.
Oh, yes.
And,
yes.
and the community center too. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
but
yes.
there are others, I'm sure that there are other artists that.
Yeah, outside of.
In that,
Right.
yeah, so.
I said.
I like to
diversity-
diversify also we tend to use the same people over and over in Highland Park for things, so it would be nice to give somebody else an opportunity to shine as well. The teen center, how can we, I would love to work with Ashton a little bit more on this, perhaps coming up with a mentorship program that includes council members. And just mentoring some of the youth that might be interested in going into politics, and what better place to start, but the local level. So perhaps it's something that we can explore.
That's kind of, that can dovetail with your teen
Mayor
advisory. Yeah,
That's what
she
the
has
Mayor
a-
Teen Advisory does.
Yeah, main
Okay.
team. It's too late. I know she has a committee.
Yeah, kids who are interested, they come over.
Okay, all right, perfect. Some of the things that I wrote were things that I know that Ashton was working on, and I just want to work with him and Kim, and like the community garden initiative that I think was going to happen last year. I would like to see that happening. some mental and physical wellness programs, perhaps. Just I feel like the teen center has a lot of potential, a lot more potential, and maybe we can be exploring some of the things that they can bring to the table. Regarding the municipal alliance, I just had the first meeting last week. I reported on that at the trust committee. And just exploring ways of making the community more aware of what the municipal alliance actually does, and its mission really, because its mission is about substance, and substance abuse, which is something that members of this community do suffer from. So how do we get the information out? Exploring ways of really getting the information out and creating some programs that would be beneficial. Transportation, I want to explore with Kim if there are any limitations. Was it you that mentioned something about the bus? There was something with the bus.
Oh, yeah, we
Right.
recently,
Oh, yeah,
the bus
yeah.
had broken down
Right.
and last
Yes,
year
yes,
approved
yes.
funding.
Message received, right?
Yes, I know.
Bus,
Thank you, Norma, for bringing it up again.
bus, bus.
It's really, and
Oh, no, I'll wait for the end.
okay, sure, fine. And just exploring, how is it going? Is the transportation being overutilized or underutilized? And it's underutilized, how do we get, can we get more people to use it? Is it more beneficial? So that's one thing.
Or the
And
needs.
somebody mentioned before about healthier, I was thinking of a healthier community initiative of partnering. We have so many gyms in Highland Park. And maybe there is some kind of program that we could develop to get people, to be healthier in general in Highland Park. And also encouraging the youth to, to be healthier in general. That might be something that we could work on with the health commission. Okay, the Arts Commission, really, they're doing so much on their own already. They have the windows of understanding that they're working on. They're working on the lecture and workshop series. There's still the sidewalk decal project, I think, is kicking off in spring. And we would all love to see more murals downtown. So that's part of the goal, and helping them secure some more grants for these projects. Let's see, I would love to establish some kind of like Highland Park Arts and Cultural Month, where we would like organize, working with other commissions that tend to intersect to bring some kind of month-long series of arts and music and things like that. I'm not sure that it's absolutely necessary because there's so much that goes on during the summer in Highland Park, but perhaps it's something that we can explore in the off season.
Just a thought, it's in the park, trying to make them tied in.
As in the park. Yeah. Let's see. Just continuing our work with co-sponsoring the events of Art Commission. This is pertaining to the Arts Commission. Just, they have some events coming up, and they should be exploring more co-sponsorship opportunities, such as I know that they're working with the Pride Center, but with the Human Relations Commission, Sustainable Highland Park, Historical Commission, and I think it's really, really important for a lot of the commissions to be working together, and because a lot of the work intersects, and just it kind of adds to the workforce, because some of these commissions are very low in membership. So perhaps if we do more joint programming, we could really join forces and get some stuff done. And the long-term goal, which is not going to be by December, is it would be nice if we can find a dedicated indoor space for arts and performances. I know it's been a really long-term goal for the Arts Commission to see a space like this. I don't know how we would go about it, but it's something that should be in our minds, and perhaps we could start working towards that goal.
Performing arts or visual arts or both?
Both. It's an art space. Actually, New Brunswick just announced that they're opening up. They bought some property and they're got a grant or something, and they're developing another small venue for arts and performance art, as if they needed another one. Yeah, on George Street, actually. It's gonna be on George Street.
Another theater?
What they?
Yeah. Yeah.
What do they use? They want like a place like to work day to day?
A place where they could hold, art exhibits, small performances, poetry, a dedicated art space, a cultural art space. It's not unheard of. I mean, New Brunswick has a couple of places like that. And even though they have like 2 theaters, they're just developing another one. I just read in the paper that they received some money, a grant or something like that, to open up a place in George Street, and they're rehabbing this property there. So I think it was a former bank or something. I'm trying to remember the details, but I just saw it yesterday. in the paper. So just something to think about that perhaps that we can make happen at some point. The Historical Commission, as you know, Terry knows that we are, they're trying to secure a grant for a history project called Community History Project, and they're working on that. So hopefully they will get that grant project. And let's see, once again, it's another commission that could be working with the Arts Commission and Human Relations Commission. I would also love to speak to them about perhaps working with the Department on Aging and maybe curating some stories and history of the members of the senior, just to get them more involved. And we have a lot of history in our town, so maybe it's perhaps something that they could work on together. And that is some of the other ideas, that I have is more economic development. I already mentioned the market discount. I mentioned the Healthier Community program. And basically just getting to, my goals are just getting to know the commissions better, my work, and helping them grow, and how can we think about getting more volunteers on these commissions and boards so that we can get the work done. So I'm open to ideas on that and how we can do the outreach in the community to get people excited about being on these boards and commissions. That's pretty much what I have. The rest are just ideas for myself that I can develop later.
Jason?
Oh, yeah, so love those goals and priorities. Think they're fantastic. A couple of things I would just like add, like some maybe legacy projects or goals and wishes that I had from my couple of years with that bucket would be, so I know we made some improvements to the community center, the fresh paint, the brand new flooring. I know on deck would be the roof and the bathrooms there are in need of.
Yes.
It's
That's happening, yeah, that's happening, yeah. Yeah, that's
I just
happening
gave you
already.
something you can already start
So just
checking off.
write
on
it
your-
down, it has to get finished.
I mean,
And then
Give
the.
her
I won't take credit for it,
Yeah,
but
that's
Trying to
right,
get
no.
the,
I'm not taking credit for
take
that.
bid
It's
out
already
soon
happening.
for the,
Well, you can say
Great
have
to
it
hear.
complete, because you never know that thing.
You gotta
Fine,
stay
it
on
could
top.
be
Yeah,
3
you gotta
months from
stay
now.
on top of that.
Right.
So another issue.
You
that
got all these other people who wants a whole plaza built. He's gonna, and these two are working together.
Let's
So you're trying to, I know.
I see what's going
You see
on.
the mayor, the mayor, I didn't see nothing about my bucket on her list, so. Don't put that in the record.
It's already
In the record.
No,
That is
I-
too much.
but that's where I'm.
These two is
I got it, I wrote it down so that I could follow up on that.
No.
That's and a couple of other wish list items for, that I know Kim had in mind for the community center in that space, which is the. I guess
Second
because-
floor?
Well, that's the dream. That would be fantastic. We're talking like a rooftop, like garden plaza,
That's been
or
a
just a full
while.
second floor where you need an elevator. That's just, dare to dream. But some smaller things, would be the,
That- yeah, that
the
was a lot.
ceiling because there was a little bit of leakage from the roof, so the ceiling, like the tiles and whatnot, are not in the best of shape. So I know that's something that she's hoping to.
I'll complete all maintenance items in the building.
We've been, yes.
Terry is tired. She's like, just
I'm
complete
getting
the damn
tired,
thing.
I'm getting tired, I'm sorry, it's coming on.
And then the one
He's
that-
getting very technical on this. Replace the ceiling tiles.
and
Refill the toilet.
one more thing from Kim's wish list that I'd like to see
Wish list.
happen.
Kim's wish list. Okay.
The little outdoor space outside. I think she wanted to freshen that up to make it a little bit
Oh,
more
yeah.
inviting.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, she has.
Patio
She has
back.
that on her list. She spoke to me
Patio.
about that.
Yeah.
So-
I remember she
That's
mentioned
a
that
real
one
gem
time
back there,
too.
too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. that's
Oh my
the
God,
one
now
there.
that you mentioned
Right.
that, I feel so bad. I feel like she probably
You're giving
like,
me a hard
Yeah.
she
time
probably
for
like
going
that
on.
when Stephanie was our council lead. She never got that. I remember that when you said it now. I remember her going.
I
through
have
that.
one for Norma. It's a money one.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
We need to update our facility use
Fees.
fees for the community center building.
Oh, yes. you
And
did say
we,
that.
we give it away for free for big fundraiser events and.
Only
we should be charging
$125.
I'm giving it
Are you
I know,
serious?
so-
tomorrow morning.
so-
yeah.
Yeah.
Kim
So like,
and I-
yeah, so we have like a
Party.
nonprofit,
Yeah.
we have a nonprofit fee?
I don't want to get into the details, but we need to.
I'll find out.
down,
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
I'll find
of
out,
it.
yeah.
Including our fees. And
Okay.
I
And
think
if somebody wanna have
without
a
being
party
penalty
or
to
Okay, yeah.
nonprofit users, but you can't have a full-scale 250-person event and get a room for free.
Mhm.
It just
Yeah,
doesn't
no,
make sense.
Yes.
no, no, no.
When you're raising.
We need to
money.
revisit that.
They pay, they have to do, they couldn't get it for $300 somewhere else.
Right,
Like it's,
yeah.
it's.
It's $125.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry,
Ridiculous.
Terry, you're gonna get it tomorrow morning, and there's gonna be a fee for cleanup by hourly.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
they have to
yes.
have a person stay to.
And we
clean
can
up
have
and close
criteria
up.
and
Yeah.
Kim.
We need to rewrap the entire thing. That was done back when I was, that
Yeah.
was my post.
All right,
I
I
think
put-
that of all of the fees we've been talking about is the
Oh,
one
yeah.
that I think we have to address.
Yeah.
Not just the
When
fees,
my
but the
portfolio-
protocols, the
Yeah.
rules. Because we have a nice new interior there.
Yeah, that's true. So, yeah, so use policy also.
And,
So when
the
I get
kitchen,
you,
the
opposite
kitchen
noon
use
tomorrow.
policy too.
I'm sorry.
Update the kitchen use policy.
Kitchen use
Yes, yes,
policy?
yes.
I'm sorry, real quick, just one quick thing on the Arts Commission. So they used to have a guerrilla arts club for kids, which
Right,
was just
yeah.
like kid-focused arts programming, which was
Oh, yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
The person who spearheaded that had since resigned from the
Arts Commission.
Arts Commission. So, I mean, I guess the goal would be to see that brought back. And I know there's some, I think a new member or two, potentially, they might be willing to take that on. Okay, now I'll
Yeah, 'cause
stop.
I wonder if-
Yes,
I
it's
wonder if
9:26.
Anything else?
I mean, from last
Part
from my
of the-
time there,
yeah.
they hadn't quite yet, but that was a goal.
We
So
have some new people in the Arts Commission. I wonder if they'd be willing to.
I can think of one person that might, that expressed interest.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
yeah.
All right,
Talk
so let's
about
talk
that
about that.
offline.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
okay.
don't want to take any more
Yeah,
time.
We
Sorry.
have to extend the meeting.
Again.
We're
Yeah.
gonna do another 10 minutes extension.
What? I can't.
You're done?
No, I haven't went through anything. You haven't went through it. Public safety hasn't went through anything. 10,
You're not
15.
here. You're-
Well, so are we gonna? I think 10,
Oh.
15.
Nine to.
Well, mine,
9:25.
I don't have that much. I have the shortest.
Can we say compromise at 10? No later
10.
than 10?
No, that-
Okay, yes, I'm gonna go real.
Okay, you don't
fast.
have any to go.
No, well, no, she still, we have Q and A.
Yeah, questions.
I just
though.
have
Yeah.
one question. for Norma.
Yeah.
No, you have a question.
If it possible, and I don't know how we want to approach this, but I mean, this is probably the mayor also.
Yeah, we have to open our fortune cookie.
If there's ever any money at the federal level ever again. uh, If that happens someday.
The saddest
um,
statement.
I mean, would we be able to keep the, a potential second floor on the community center as a long-term goal to just have?
Keep
have them?
dreaming.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't.
Okay, you gonna
No,
tell.
no,
That's
we don't
what
have,
I'm
but
saying,
just keep,
obviously. But like if.
That's what I'm
Dreaming.
saying, keep dreaming.
Right, keep.
yeah, that
dreaming.
thing was over $1 million at that time.
It
God
was
knows how
over
much
that. It was
is
more
now.
than $1 million just to put the top on before.
Might be
Oh,
cheaper.
Over $1 million.
You
That
need an
was-
elevator.
That was almost 7, 8
Yeah.
years ago.
But I will say,
Well,
when
that's
I
what I was
talked to
trying
the,
to
last time this came up, I talked to
A
an architect.
rooftop deck.
And they said
Not a whole
it'd be
roof.
cheaper to just
Tear it
buy,
Tear it down and
buy
do
a
it.
building and build something new
Right.
than trying to build on top.
Right, that's what I was just saying.
Um,
The
that
old
Jason-
structure is nice.
It was
Yeah.
designed, right? Wasn't it
I knew-
designed?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
but it's
weird,
just now,
yeah.
it's not efficient
It's
to,
not.
to put it on
What
top.
about-
Right.
All right.
Rooftop deck,
Yeah,
outdoor parties.
I know.
Let it
There's
go.
like.
Some-
they have
You wanna build an elevator just for a rooftop
Oh.
deck?
the garden.
You've been to the Asbury? No,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
kidding.
So-
We can get them to run.
Any
it.
other- you had a,
But it's
count-
not I mean, like.
I got-
county
Are you-
money,
Are you?
Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah, I should
just
stop.
No, no, you're, I know it's your old
Just leave us
portfolio,
inside.
so
If you
you,
can tell I
like,
miss it, but.
it's
Oh.
bubbling over.
Pickleball tournament.
Cap,
Oh, that's right. That was a lot.
Councilman.
Well, there was supposed to be a pickleball
Pickleball.
Oh,
recreational.
yeah,
program.
pickleball, everyone in town.
That was a hot thing
That could
for a
be a
while.
moneymaker.
That's a money
It's,
maker.
it's
Really?
still
Well, we
in
built the
progress.
courts, right? The courts are there.
Mhm, the
Yeah.
county
What
built the
happened to
court.
that?
The court,
What happened?
we just need to implement the program.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pickleball program.
Mhm. And that's a revenue
We do
generator.
do
Yeah.
pickleball, like,
Trust
rec
me, I got all my
programs, but not a
pickleball stuff
tournament.
because I used to be down there doing my pickleball.
Yeah, I don't know.
I played on the Asian team. They were good.
I'm gonna
they're
freak
good.
him out and say, I suggest checking out the last 2/3 of this meeting.
All right.
All right,
That's it,
next,
that's all you.
council member.
No, that's all. you have.
Oh, so you just raised, you didn't.
Other one is pickleball tournament.
We want money,
I like it.
fundraisers.
That's
That's a
right.
revenue
Yes,
generator.
that's
Right.
For our
She
program.
said review the fees and all
Yes,
that, so
yes.
she has that, she has that.
Yeah.
And you have a new program for potential revenue.
And
There
I
you
also
go.
want to review all the fees to all the youth programs, all the
Okay.
programs to see like where we're at with that.
And then you mentioned Municipal Alliance, right, bringing that out. Do they did have a program that they would do to satisfy, remember, around prom and drunk driving and remember?
So they used to
They
do
s-
that, you mean the demonstration?
Yes.
They stopped doing that a while back.
Because they don't have any
It-
partners or they just.
From my
didn't?
understanding, because I did ask when I
Mhm.
met, from my understanding is that it was, I could be wrong, but it was under the recommendation of the Board of Ed. Because
Oh,
it was
okay.
very,
Because the cops
Traffic.
were involved
Oh,
they
okay.
did not, yes.
All right.
and no cops were allowed on their property.
I mean, it was
Okay,
done outside
okay.
though, wasn't it?
It's on school
Yes, yes,
property.
yes.
It's on school property and they have their guns. And we're not gonna allow our officers to take off their guns to do a public service. And there's a need for officer to be ready. And we're gonna tell them to take their guns and put them in their car. That's not gonna work.
I had this conversation. Okay.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
all right. And then one other thing with, I'm just, because
Tell us how you
I
feel.
feel like I'm old now to all these old things.
No, you're all by
Remember when we
yourself.
used to do that? Remember when we used to do that? None of it exists anymore. Okay.
I had kids that went through high school and they did.
Oh, yeah.
They did
Yeah,
experience
yeah.
that program, but my two
Mhm.
younger ones did not experience that program, and I was wondering why, and I found out just recently.
The
because
Board
I
of
had-
Ed does not want officers in the school.
Oh. So also for the Arts Commission, right? So I remember the Windows of Understanding was born out of everything. I think that came out of COVID and.
Yeah,
all
and
the
it
movement.
was it's an initiative with the New Jersey, New Brunswick Cultural Center.
Right,
as
right,
well.
right.
And
So,
this-
but there, it was around everything that was going on and
It was
Washington at that time.
pre-COVID,
Yeah.
and then we
pre-COVID.
started it here. And then it's because we wanted to do something with writing
Right.
window and it started out to do
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
and then expanded to New
Yeah.
Brunswick, Metuchen, Woodbridge, and
Mhm.
it just came out of here, just kept on blooming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so what if I remember them, if they like a response to most of the things that's going on, maybe with the immigrant community and different things through
Yeah.
art,
Yeah, yeah.
right? They
yeah.
usually, it could be an idea, if it dies or not, that's up
Right.
to you guys, but that was just. an
Yeah, I think
idea.
that their theme this year is climate change.
Oh, okay.
Every year they pick like a theme. I think this year is climate change.
Okay. All right, and that's it.
Maybe
So
next
you're
year-
done?
Maybe next year,
No
that's what they
further.
should be.
Yes, I'm done with my comments.
Council President, it's your turn.
My turn. So mine, I only have a few in my bucket, but revenue
Make sure
raisers
make
to ensure
everybody needs
everyone.
That's all she
meets
talk about,
their-
money.
No. For me, one of the ongoing things that I don't know why I haven't, I'm so sorry. The ethics board, Jen normally sends me the list and.
Well, you have one member, so it's easy.
Yes, I have one member, but maybe we can.
So
do
build
a
it?
little
Is
bit.
that what-
Yes, build it.
Oh, you need members.
Yeah, I need members, build it, kind of like, even for myself, refresher on it.
Once a year.
Yeah, they meet once a year, remember that whole thing, that thing.
So maybe twice,
Yeah.
twice
So
a
maybe
year,
the goal would be to build it and then meet once.
or
Well,
twice, no,
yeah,
twice. a day,
for
twice
even
a-
for all of us to kind of understand this board, our functions in that meeting. Maybe they should be meeting more than once, but yeah, that's where we're going. Rent control outreach, I know, I had spoke with Councilman Hirsch about that last year. So kind of on both ends, when we talk about for tenant and landlord outreach.
And you know, and for cross silo purposes, Council, just sustainable HP, that's a points opportunity for us too, so
Oh, yeah, I
yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah,
Then one shared service for this year, that's the 2025. So in mine is to review again, which has been reviewed again, is the shared services with the courts. So just review whatever was done in the past. I want to see where that went. What happened? Who did we speak to? Who we didn't speak to? Maybe the mayor has that stuff. And then help.
Dust off some old memory back.
Yeah,
I'm like,
because it might be an easy share, right?
That's a hard one. You gotta do
It
it
is
with the AOC.
very, very.
Well, that's why that's probably all year
And
long.
you have to
Number of
weigh
years.
the benefit, and like it may not, you
Just
know.
might not
Yeah,
pan
so
out.
just kind of research on that. And then one of our biggest kind of, not really expenditures, but where we're down in revenue as per what we're projecting, because there hasn't been any building, is to help back to redevelopment, is the UCC fees, which are coming in finance. So if we get that kind of, is a collaboration there, you start building, the fees start coming in, and we can, yeah. Because you remember, I think, yeah, you're in finance that we were kind of down.
yeah.
Yeah. And then, that's all I have. I mean, pass the budget. That's definitely, that's the biggest one. Yeah, pass the budget. And then lastly, I mean, I guess that's just for council president, and the mayor probably put that in there, like support you all. And then if you need any help, or, you know, the mayor's there, and if she asks you for a wish list, have it ready. And all of those funding. And I think that is it for me. Any questions on finance? No. Thank you.
Can I mention a couple of just.
Yes, would you like to?
public Safeties, just in honor.
Oh, public.
Yes,
safety.
please.
Yes.
And they're not long, but I know there are gonna be things that actually either come up in the budget or longer term.
Mhm.
Looking at the fire department, you know, we need to
Yes.
look at our fire department ordinance to reflect, we now have a career fire chief, but our ordinance doesn't comport, so we're gonna have to, you know, with Sapna's team's help, figure out that, and that's just a body of work that has to get done. But then related to that, we're gonna have to continue, just like the police department's been staffing up. It's very likely you'll see a request for a fourth full-time firefighter, again, slowly building our forces up so that we can respond to the growth in our community that's coming with redevelopment, and also just our current demands. Just like the police is very busy, the fire department is very busy. So those are two, we're gonna write them down, that just I know are gonna come up in the course of this year with the budget. And hopefully both will be, I would hope the ordinance will be, at least we're all under consensus that we have the ordinance we like by June, and then we move to adopt everything before the end of the year. And I know the Safe Routes and some of those projects are on the radar for, that's a cross-cutting one. The Raritan is cross-cutting, huh? That's what I said, I was Safe Routes, that was my shorthand for that. And that one of the things we're trying to do is look at the complete streets policy as part of the sustainable journey. So it's kind of.
Yeah, everything's in action. I'll send the list around, and if you find anything that conforms to what your employers are doing, just, you know, it's easy. You may not have to be, you know, anything extra. We may just be undercounting our credentials.
So you sent yours around to all of us. I don't think
I'm
we
doing
need
that.
to, yeah, I don't think.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, we extended to that.
Cops, anything with the cops grant?
I mean, we're implementing the COPS grant.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's already done.
But the hiring isn't no
The
work,
phasing,
let me
right,
tell you.
Yeah, 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 what's the phasing like?
Oh,
Yeah, we have a plan.
As long as Washington can't take that money back.
Once the check clears.
Yeah.
It ain't clear yet.
Doge gonna be all under.
Okay, everyone take it.
Cool. What are the?
Okay, this one.
I don't know,
Um,
but they're not.
Anything else that we have to add?
I know.
Since there's nothing else, a public discussion, is there any public discussion?
Oh, there is one mayor, there's one person on Zoom without this long. So do you want to,
Yeah,
now, so if, do you want to just say whatever you usually say?
no. Public, just 21 minutes, 3 minutes per speaker, limited to items on the agenda, which we did not have an agenda. Comments from people attending in public will be heard first, followed by those attending on Zoom. We didn't have an agenda.
Please raise your hand if you're at home and would like to give comments.
Chat GPT.
I see no hands, Mayor.
Seeing that there's none made, may I have a motion to close public participation?
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Councilmember Hale,
Yep.
Councilmember Hirsch,
Yes.
Council President Kim Cho Han,
Yes.
Councilmember Pistonik,
Yes.
Councilmember Vargas.
Yes.
And motion to adjourn?
Yeah, you can.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, see you guys next week.
Mayor, Mayor, yours, can you read yours out loud?
Oh, shit.
Wait a second.
Can you?
Hold on.
No, she's just reading hers out loud. She's the only one that has to read hers out loud.
Oh, no, I'm not doing that then. I'm not doing that. This
Well,
is-
okay, if you
Stephanie, this is
wanna
where you make it a portion for
If they
kids.
wanna read them out loud. If you guys wanna read them out loud.